Okay, we live. We live. Okay, for sure, we is live. Let me get things marinated. Oh shit! Salute to NBA fan. Oh boy, was here early. Salute to you, man. This is the Real Deal Financial Show, and right now, this is a real estate panel. Gonna look at some real estate tax liens. Gonna look at some real estate data. Be able to figure out what's going on in the markets. See what's going on. Real estate prices has been skyrocketing. The prices has literally been parachuting up. The market has been inflated, to say the least. The markets is the average median home price in California, no, in LA is 724,000. So that pretty much shows you how much that the market has increased. Last week we was talking about how Hawaii properties in Kauai has increased to 36%. That's pretty much crazy. Super Triz. What's going on, G? Super Triz.
And what's going on? There's like a little bit of a delay with StreamYards when you first come in with an iPhone. Is the sound is very choppy, so that's why I kind of wait a little bit till the choppiness clears up. It's an issue with StreamYards, so I'm going on StreamYards. But yeah, what's going on?
Nothing much, man. I've pretty much been seeing these real estate prices going consistently up. People from Dallas is complaining about prices being skyrocketed. Seemed like over
In
the
Dallas,
past 90 days. Yes, Dallas, Texas, that market.
well, in particular, we're talking about Texas. Of course, with the Elon Musk move to Texas, and prior to that, the Toyota move to Texas. There's other businesses um, that are not quite as large, obviously, than tech as Tesla, that have either made the move or announced that they're making the move, and so consequently, there's been a large outflow of California residents, as well as an influx of residents into the Texas area that might have at one point considered California as an option, but then decided on Texas. And so, because of that, um, this raises the price of real estate because people are cash laden after selling properties in California, um, and then they look at the comparative property in Texas and they realize, well, I can get a whole lot more, um, and so that just raises the prices. Similar to what happened here in the Seattle area a couple years ago. Same thing happened here.
Mm. Yeah, because because really California's about to skyrocket at least 6 to 7 markets. No, Phoenix, Arizona market, Las Vegas, Nevada market, uh, Albuquerque, New Mexico, all places. Denver already expensive. Dallas, as we mentioned, Houston has Houston well. So there's a lot of people pretty much complaining about how people from California is making everything else extremely high due to the fact that they tell me it's a job.
I'm gonna have to hop out and hop back in. I'm having an issue with StreamYards again.
Artificial. Okay. Let me see who's coming in. And StreamYards be bullshitting. StreamYards be bullshitting. Let me get something correct. Let me make sure I'm not lagging or boring. Nah, salute to you. Got UK people coming in. Salute to y'all. You refer. Okay, I'm back. Let me put the link in the chat. For all the people that's coming in. Please like, share, subscribe. And as you're coming in, tap into the link. Tap in, open panel. Swear, StreamYards be tripping. Swear, StreamYards be tripping. I can never be able to get a consistent flow with this damn platform. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay. Let's look at some properties in Dallas County. Okay, let me start from the start. You got a lot in Cedar Hill, under 100,000. They say that the after repair value is 250. Seller's asking price is 279. But I like to always try to see if we can be able to beat the seller down on the price. 250 ARV is pretty nice, but see if I can get this situation for at least around 70, 65 to 70, because this right here is land, and that's potentially a play to be able to do assignment with a cash buyer. Certain contracts is pretty much non-assignable, so that's when you're gonna need transactional funding, to be able to get the deal off your hands. We're gonna look all over the South, and we're gonna also look at a couple of markets. Just waiting for Super Triz to come back on. I don't know if Cuz need the link. But we're gonna look at this single family house. Let me look at how much the rents go for in Dallas. Give me a minute, y'all. Let me research and figure out how much does rents go for. It says here on my iPhone, rents usually tend to be $750 to $825 a month. Okay, there we go. Let me add my man. Oh shit. Okay, for sure. What? Wait a minute. Damn, I thought I added oh boy into the stream. Okay, now fix and flip asking price 89, ARV 150, single family, 3 bedroom, 1 bathroom, square feet 957 plus, converted garage, adding 260 square feet, lot size 0.17, year that was built 1959. After repair value, they claim it's 150. Okay. Okay. So I believe this is where it's at. It's between Wolf Creek, Cedar Crest, and Netchings. Okay, so I did the research. The rents go in this area for $750 to $825 a month. Now that's something that I pretty much got off of a data chart, but that's technically what the price is, the rents is going for in that area. Okay. No, I'm definitely not seeing this as a deal. I would have to beat up on the price. I would try to offer 75 to 70.
So I will look at when they say after repair value, what is the actual condition of the property now? Is it rent ready? Because sometimes after repair value works under the auspice that you want the property to look a certain way, which may not be necessary for the rental market in that particular locale. So look at comparables and see how they're equipped and decide how much money you need to sink in your property to get the profit margin that you want. Because sometimes you may just be able to rent it as is, and get the money that you want to see out of it, and just defer certain upgrades as needed. Also, you want to look at the trajectory of the property values in that particular area. Are they on the rise? Because you can basically make money on both ends, not only from your rental revenue to sustain your monthly operating costs and maybe give you a little bit of bonus, but also on the back end if you decide to sell the property or maybe do a second mortgage or a home equity line of credit to either do upgrades to that property or pull out the equity to purchase another property. So that's a possibility as that property itself increases in value.
I agree. So definitely looking at comps in that area. I wrote that address down, so I'm gonna do some back end research. I'm just pretty much seeing what's on the surface level. I'm seeing this situation. They're saying that the seller asking price is $290 for this situation in Richardson, Texas. Let this thing load. Jesus, I swear, StreamYards be taking the bandwidth out of my computer point. Take 6 minutes to get a damn page loaded, but this situation is the seller asking price is $290. They're saying that the cost, no, not the cost. the ARV is potentially 425, and he's saying that the estimated cost of repairs is 45 G's, which is saying that it's potentially leaving 90,000 and potential equity profit. Off market, it's gym. This home in great shape, a huge backyard, very clean with low days on the market. Do not miss it. Well, that's what they claim. Looking at the map. Okay. Okay, so it's in the middle between Plano, Garland, and Carrollton. Okay. Okay. I need to research the rents that can go for Richardson. Okay, single family house, 2-car garage, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, built in 1960, 2,100 square feet. Mostly cosmetic updates. The property will need a slight foundation adjustment, quoted at $2,600. The roof is 15 years old, but in good shape. But if you choose to replace the roof, it'll be around $5,000. Okay, so those are the two costs that they was upfront with. So the slight foundation quoted at $2,600. To replace the roof, it'll be about 5 G's. Let's look at some similar properties. But I'm gonna have to do some research on the Richardson and also Dallas area. Let me get Renaissance.
Hey, what's up, Real?
Can you hear me?
What's up, Super Triz?
Hey, what's going on?
Nothing much.
Yeah, so with that particular area, I'm not too familiar with the Dallas area. Even though I've been to Dallas many times, I never really paid attention to the area. So it's hard to determine what areas would be class C versus class B. Some people use the A through D categorization. Some use A through C, but essentially, is it probably as an investor, you're looking at anywhere between B or C class neighborhoods. Generally speaking, the A class are going to be completely out of your price range. Probably in most cities, B is going to be out of your price range. So you're looking at C and D class neighborhoods. So you want to try to get on the high end C class. A lot of times the D class, they're more appealing because they have more favorable cap rates. But you run into issues of maintaining the property because the residents in those particular type of neighborhoods generally are more rough on the actual properties themselves. There's more issues with timely collection of rent.
Yeah, it's going to say finding tenants.
Yeah, finding qualified tenants, and then there's issues also with kind of like what I ran into, crime. So if some areas hold you as the owner accountable for excessive call outs to the property that you own.
Yeah.
So there's an issue at my property with a physical altercation, which one resident was assaulted, and so I had to go out there at 3:00 in the morning and actually be present, or I would have got cited as the owner.
Oh wow.
So it just depends on where you're at. You got to kind of look into stuff like that because there's been issues before on that property. You see what I'm saying? And so the cops will, they'll get to the point where they say, you know what, we had so many issues. If we get caught out here again, we're going to cite the owner.
Yeah, because at that point, I'm sure they're going to put pressure on you to basically kick the person out. Same thing.
Which I had to do.
Yeah,
I had to evict this. So you got that issue, and then
as you try to resolve the issue, now you have to evict the tenant, and this tenant was paying his money. As much trouble as he caused, he was paying on a timely fashion. But I had to evict him.
Yeah, that's kind of like if you live in a neighborhood and neighbors start having a problem and they found out you're renting, they'll get together and just say, okay, let's all call the homeowner and complain, or complain to like the if they have like a neighborhood board or something.
Yep.
And you basically get pressure to basically put that person out.
Yep.
Damn.
I was going to ask you, Triz, how do you define A and B and C? Because I figure the other things you probably run into with any sort of high end is you're going to run into more restrictions in neighborhoods where they say either no rentals, period, or only a certain percentage in the neighborhood can be rentals.
The actual criteria is rather ambiguous, but there are some, like, basically you're basically talking about, I mean, as the nomenclature implies, would you rather have an A, B, or C in the class, or D? And so that kind of corresponds with the quality of the actual neighborhood. So a lot of the class A neighborhoods, typically speaking, they're either like the super, like we're talking like Beverly Hills type area, or it'd be like an area where you're in proximity to the city center. And a lot of times those class A neighborhoods in proximity to the city center, they're usually big commercial conglomerates or some sort of investment firm that actually owns those type of properties. These are big. These are these big multi-million-dollar high rises that you have to have the upfront capital costs are absolutely massive. That really the average Joe there's no way he will be involved in a Class A property unless he's maybe like on the high end if you're like an accredited investor.
Yeah.
And you're able to be allowed to invest in
or if you got like an investment group.
Yeah, and then also here's a big issue. A lot of times, like sometimes there may be an opportunity to get in a Class A neighborhood. So sometimes, say for instance, like on where I work at on Broadway. If you go on Broadway and Madison, that intersection, there's Class A commercial properties that have residential or commercial retail on the first floor, obviously, and then they have residential like on the second, third, and fourth, fifth, all the way up to whatever floors, however many stories it is. Sometimes they'll have subfloor parking, but those are like on the actual main streets. But if you like go a block inward away from the main drag, then you'll see like you'll see like low, I won't say low rise, but you'll see like maybe 8-story buildings as opposed to like the 20 and 30-story buildings. So you see like the 8-story buildings, and those buildings, like next door to them, there may be like a holdout house. And what I mean by a holdout house is that somebody that never sold.
Yeah.
And so when all the developers came in, this person older and they
sell.
And so now you have an opportunity to buy that house. Like you catch it, maybe you get lucky. But the problem is that the property taxes are so high.
Yep.
The only way it makes financial sense is if you tear that property down and build a multifamily like everybody else did. And then the problem with that is that, say for instance, you build that multifamily, right? You tear the property down, you built the multifamily, right? You've already incurred the cost of demolition, you've incurred the cost of new construction and permitting. Now you have to compete with these big companies that own the main drag commercial residential, because what they do is they'll offer first, second, sometimes third month free rent, and they'll move you in too. Some of these big places don't move you in, but they have capital reserves, so they're able to carry the property as they feel, because when it's a new construction, they're as soon as they open their doors, they're at 0% occupancy and 100% vacancy.
Yeah, that's how my place was here in DC.
They incentivize you as a new resident, and then so somebody else trying to get into the game in that vicinity, you can't offer those same incentives because you don't have the capital reserves to carry the cost of the property.
Yep. Yeah, they did that. My place. When I moved in here, it was when I moved from Atlanta to DC, they gave me first 3 months free. free rent just because the building was brand new and they were trying to get people in it.
Yep, that's how you do.
Okay, fellas, here is the average estimated rent based on the data. Houston, 1,100 a month. Dallas, 1,250 a month. Austin,
I'm surprised that
13.
Austin has gone down. That's interesting.
Very surprised. Very surprised.
Unless it's just because
4%
people are
hit.
buying houses instead and
Potentially.
moving out of apartments.
San Antonio, Fort Worth.
That makes sense. People moving out of a lot of people I've heard, if they want a little bit slower life from Dallas, they'll move to Fort Worth to slow it
Yep.
down.
Mm-hmm.
Irving, Plano, Arlington,
Plano was right by Dallas.
So yeah, Arlington is right in between Fort Worth and Dallas.
Yeah.
Denton,
Denton is where's that? Is that so by Dallas too, ain't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Grand Prairie,
Yep, that's near Dallas as well.
McKinney.
That's north of Dallas.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
I listen, a lot of those cities you just named, I got memories. We'll just say that.
Well, here's your by average rent in Dallas neighborhood. Now, these is all, you can tell these are pretty much all compiled, but look at the neighborhoods. Wright Farms, South Oak, Seagoville Villas. I
Yep.
know I didn't say that right. No, I know.
Eagleville Villas.
You're still in Seattle, right, Triz?
Yes.
Okay.
Clyburg, Highland Vista Estates, Hickory Creek, Garden Heights, Casa Loma Estates, Arbor Springs, Arbor Ridge. The most affordable neighborhoods in Dallas are Arbor Ridge, where the average rent goes for $796 a month. Arbor Springs is where renters pay $796 a month on average. Casa Loma Estates, where the average rent, they all estimated this at $796, so pretty much $800 a month. If you're looking for other great deals, check out listings from Garden Heights, Hickory Creek, and Highland Vista Estates, where the asking prices are below the average rent of $1,250 a month. The most expensive neighborhoods in Dallas are Brighton, Loft North, $2,600 a month.
Yeah, when you were talking about those Class A neighborhoods, what comes to mind, Triz, there is like almost like if you've got someone really wealthy who's needs to be in the city for like, a couple months or something like that, renting that to them, or like turning that into an Airbnb type of property where like people who want to come in and live somewhere, rent somewhere nice for like a weekend or so.
Yes. Yeah. Or there are possibilities to be in a Class A suburb and have an expensive property and able to rent it. Like a lot of times you'll have some type of professional, whether it be a business professional or maybe a healthcare professional, a physician or surgeon that might have relocated.
Yeah.
They're not planning on staying in that particular location for a very long time, maybe like 2 years, something like that. And they want a house that they can rent because perhaps they have family or they just want a certain type of lifestyle. And so there's opportunities for that. But that market is a lot more difficult. You generally are in that type of market because you have a property that just happens to be more valuable to keep for whatever reason. Maybe it's a financial or maybe an emotional component that you don't want to sell that property. And because this property is out of most people's price range, you have a very limited pool of people that you can actually rent it to.
Yeah.
But because of its value to you personally, you're willing to allow it to sit on the market vacant in order to get that right tenant to rent it to.
Yeah, definitely. The other thing about Dallas too is I know it's a big spot for relocation, so it definitely seems like it's a good time where I'm sure housing prices are going up in that area with so many people moving from, really I hear from New York, places on the West Coast as well too. A lot of black people out here.
So you're in Dallas. Where are you at?
No, I'm in DC. The only reason I know so much about the Dallas Fort Worth area is I used to go out there really for the past 3 years, 2 to 3 times a year, because one of my company's facilities is out there. So I got somewhat familiar with the area, mainly more so with Fort Worth. Not as much about Dallas, but I do have a family friend who lives in, I believe it's Frisco.
Okay, yeah, Frisco, Texas. Yep.
Yeah, so I've just gotten to know a little bit about the area, as well as a coworker of mine. She used to live there. She's originally from Houston. She lives in Colorado now, but she lived in Fort Worth for a little bit. And we always used to chat it up because they always try to convince you to move out there. But I'm like, I've lived in DC, I lived in Atlanta, and when I go to Texas, it's just a different vibe.
Yeah, Texas is definitely a different vibe, but I will say within Texas, even within Texas, like you're talking about if you go from El Paso to say perhaps Dallas, like this is night and day, totally different, like 100% different. Or Houston to say Wichita Falls, this is like a totally different. Like weather's different, like it's like totally different. But I will say this about Dallas. Out of all the places in Texas, I really like Dallas. If I were to live in Texas, it would have to be Austin or Dallas. Even though I lived in Houston for so long,
Oh, really?
if I had back, it would be like Dallas, Austin, because Dallas isn't flat. Houston is completely flat. Dallas has different terrain features. You can get homes with a view. You have the 4 seasons. The weather is typically cooler, not as humid as Houston, even though it gets very hot and humid in the summer. It's not nearly as bad as Houston. Houston is like you feel like you're in Vietnam in the summer. It's really, really bad.
Nah, that's interesting. The only thing I haven't heard people so much talk about the weather. They just talked about the people. They said the people in Houston were just a lot cooler than the people in Dallas. I can't really speak on that because, like I said, I've only really been there visiting wise, but that's always been the knock. Now, granted, it's always been Houston people who have said that.
Yeah, Dallas and Houston don't really get along. It's been a lot of people that have gone to Houston from Dallas, and people that have gone to Dallas from Houston that never made it back home.
Wow.
There's a rivalry between those two cities. Yeah.
Now, I can believe. Now, did you grow up in Texas?
No, I moved to Texas in 2007 and lived there until 2014.
Okay, so about 7 years. Yeah, I mean, I've heard too. They always say like the state has like anywhere from like 5 to 7 different cultures. Each city kind of has its own culture, and then you got different parts of the state. More rural areas that have their own culture with whether it's a major Hispanic area in the rural or more of a white area in the rural. It's a different culture everywhere you go.
Even within the city of Houston, like there's an area where I want to say it's Bissonnette, like on the west end of Bissonnette, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's the street. It's all Asian. Like literally the signs on the buildings are in Asian characters. No English at all. Like if you can't read that, then you don't know where the hell you're going. Like literally.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like that in West Covina, California. In West Covina, my parents lived in West Covina for a little bit before they retired. There's street signs that have Asian characters. Like literally, like instead of saying, Montclair Lane, it'll say something in Asian. You don't know what the hell the street is.
Yeah,
Street signs.
that would make sense. I was talking to I believe it was Black Torch, and he said Houston's kind of like New York City now. He said it's like the #1 place for immigrants in America.
Yeah, there's an area in Houston on the southwest side. There's a street called Harwin. Anybody that's from Houston knows this street, Harwin. That's where all the immigrants have all their little stores. Is on Harwin. Matter of fact, that's where I got my furniture. Like I went to Harwin. I found a furniture importer that custom makes furniture. and like you could literally draw something and they'll have it made.
Oh
So after
wow.
I got my furniture made, I had some chairs and a settee made at this place, Queens Furniture LLC. I'll never forget.
Oh, that's
And
pretty cool.
they made my my furniture set. I've had this furniture set since like probably like 10 years. Oh, look, like 15 years probably.
Now, real, where are you at?
Real deal. Are you muted?
Yeah, I can't hear him. Okay,
Nah,
okay. Yeah.
nah, can you hear me?
Now, what city are you in?
This shit is slow as hell. This shit. I'm still in the Dallas area.
Oh, okay, you're in Dallas. Okay.
It's pretty much I researched Brighton Loft North due to the fact that it's the highest rent. That specific area is where the highest of the rent can go. $2,700 a month. Can y'all see my visual?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. This is a 2-bedroom, 3-bath, 2 full bath, 1 half bath, built in 2002. They say 429. Try to beat the price at 375. Try to beat the price down to 375.
So can you go back to the outside view of that property? Just real quick. So this is one unit.
Two bed, 3-bath situation.
Yeah, one unit.
Yeah, so this looks more like Class B-ish, Class B plus area from the looks of it.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's definitely in the city.
Yeah, generally speaking, these generally aren't very high yield investments as an investment property. These are more issues where, okay, so if you have money, right, you have cash money. Basically, you say instead of keeping my money in the bank, I'm going to allow this property to serve as a bank. If need be, I'll take out a second line of credit if I need access to quick cash, or or probably have enough cash reserves to where I don't need to access this cash immediately. So I'll just store it in real estate as opposed to storing it in the bank, because in this particular location, I believe the property values are going to rise. So
Yeah.
I'm not looking necessarily to make a profit month to month. If I rent this out, I'm looking to hopefully cover my carrying costs after I put down my down payment, whatever that my down payment is. The actual rental revenue will cover my monthly costs, but I don't expect to make a lot of profit off of a property like this.
Yeah, you're gonna make your money off the sale.
Excuse me?
Yeah, you'd essentially make your money off the sale.
Yeah.
That's why.
I was gonna
That's why
say
I
the
was-
the only thing with that is I believe there's a penalty you have to pay if you sell. I think it's 2 years. Within 2 years, if you sell a house, there's a major penalty versus
Capital gains. That's 1 year. 1 year capital gains tax.
okay, 1 year.
But see, I mean, that could be avoided with the 1031 exchange. Basically, essentially, what you do is you purchase another property. You have a property in escrow within 60 days of the sale date of your current property. And then what you do is you essentially, it's complicated legally, but you essentially roll over the capital gains tax or any other associated sales tax from the revenue into the new property. So you're essentially deferring the tax. So you take 100% of the proceeds from your previous sale,
Yep.
and you can apply 100% of those proceeds to the principal of the new property you're purchasing.
Yeah, so
without any penalties.
yeah, like you said, you're basically deferring the taxes.
Yeah. 1031 exchange, yeah.
But yeah, I was pretty much saying that always try to beat up on the price. Like they want 429, 275, no 375.
Well, it depends.
375. If I can be able to get it for 375, it's a win. If I can get it for 4.
Yeah, it depends on how much they need to move. Yeah, it depends on how the story behind the house, how long it's been sitting, if the owner's just trying to get his money and get out. Lot of factors.
Here's the problem. Like, say for instance here, and I'm pretty sure it's like that in Dallas because this whole Elon Musk thing. But say for instance in Seattle, property, okay, 429. You got a property here for 429. Here in Seattle, it's gonna be like a fixer-upper for sure. Gonna have a lot of work to do. But 429, if you come to the real estate, or if you offer, you submit your offer with your real estate agent for $429,000, I guarantee you will not get the property. If you submit an offer under the asking price out here right now, you won't even get a response back.
Yeah, it's hot. I remember my boss was telling me, we live right out. I live I tell you about. He lives probably about an hour north of DC in a suburb, and he just sold his house. And he said when they put it on the market within a week, they got 3 offers.
Here, what they do is they'll announce the property. Like a lot of times you got to be part of these real estate groups on Facebook to actually know about the properties that are coming up for list. Because if by the time it hits the MLS, the word's already out, and so the first open house, you got 40, 50 people lined up to actually look at the property. Like, real talk. You have to go in over the asking price if you expect to get the property. Which is, see, a couple of years ago, it was really bad like that because you had Chinese investors that would come in and they will offer 30, 40, 50,000 over the asking price right off the bat and blow everybody else out of the water. But then, of course, with the COVID thing, you really haven't had that Chinese presence here, which kind of it didn't depress the real estate values, but it slowed down that appreciation. You didn't see like that skyrocketing real estate prices like you were seeing like year over year. Prices. There was a time when prices here were going up. They were going up. 30% in 1 year.
That's crazy.
Crazy. It was just Chinese. It was all 100% Chinese speculation. That's all it was. And so when it slowed down, now we see we see normal appreciation. But even still, it's a very, very hot seller's market. You have to come in over the asking price. Don't be asking for the seller to pay closing costs. Don't be asking for certain contingencies. Come with your money and be ready to move forward. That's the way to get a property out here right now, especially on the lower end. Now you have more wiggle room on higher end properties because they sit on the market longer because there's a more selective pool of individuals qualified to purchase the property. But find out what the actual scale is in an area you want to buy in, and once you find the bottom, that's where you're gonna have the most competition because you have competition from people, first time home buyers,
yep,
as well as investors and speculators.
Okay, I'm pretty much just using this website as reference. I'm not taking these pro forma numbers as face value. We are just pretty much just doing, how can I say, Monday quarterback on this one.
Yeah,
we pretty much just gonna try to psychoanalyze the shit out of this, and any property that stick out to y'all, point it out. Well, I'm really scrolling down so I can make this shit a lot faster.
The question then becomes is, what is your actual strategy? Mm-hmm. Is it buy and hold, or is it fix and flip, or is it some type of hybrid?
I would say like a hybrid situation: fix flip, or fix refi. Pretty much get a fixed refi and take the equity out and try to leverage on something a little bigger. if I can be able to get
That's
a
my goal,
scenario
to give you
where
the original property.
if I can be able to get a scenario where the property is 75, but there's ability to be able to put in 30 in order to be able to get an ARV at 275, I'm going for that situation, that scenario.
Well,
So
see,
I'll
this
be
is where
looking
you
at
have to have
comps.
somebody. You have to have
Let's see if I
somebody
can
experienced in your team, because
find
really,
something in that area that's 275 that's cheaper than 200.
really, what you need to have a scenario like that, to really maximize a scenario like that, you have to have somebody experienced that can evaluate repair costs. Because what you really want is an absolutely repulsive fire damage, um, foundation, roof or leak that's turned off the common buyer. Everybody else is scared of it. But if you have somebody experienced that can say, "Oh, that's going to be $15,000 to fix the foundation," um, and know that whatever issue is going to be resolved with that simple fix, or say the roof, oh, the roof, we can replace the roof, or we can replace the roof for $11,000, or we can replace part of the roof. We don't need to replace the entire roof, or we can replace, what's causing this leak is something simple like the rain gutters. The rain gutters are overflowed, and they got too much crap in them. We can get the rain gutters cleaned, and that's going to resolve the leak. But you have to have somebody experienced that can actually look at a property and evaluate it right off the top and say, okay, this is what we need, and this is how much it's going to cost. That's where the experience comes in. But that gives you an opportunity to buy properties that really scare away the conventional buyer. That's where you have your biggest margins, because the property's been heavily discounted already. It's been on the market for a while. They're not generating a lot of interest. You have an opportunity to even will and deal the asking price even lower, or the selling price even lower. And then whatever money you save on the purchase price, that adds to your profit margin. So that's just something to think about. I think Real Deal might have got booted off or something like that.
Yeah, it looks like his stream. I think it was messing up earlier in the stream. Now, when he said did Elon Musk say he was going to Dallas? Like, is
I
that where
don't,
his factory's being
I,
built?
I don't know where he said it specifically he was going. I just know that I think he's already moved to Texas. I'm not sure where he's at though.
Yeah. I know he moved his residence, but I didn't know if he was talking about moving his company
Yeah,
or if
company.
he. Okay, so he's moving to headquarters too. And I know he was talking about it like a gigafactory, but I didn't know if that was like in Dallas. Because I know Oracle, they announced they were moving their headquarters as well, but they were moving to Austin.
Hmm.
And I guess there's more people to follow him, out of California, which Austin has been blowing up, and they were even saying too. I was reading an article, and this will be interesting too, to sort of see with real estate, both commercial and residential, what happens with virtual work, because they were already talking about in an article that you had people from New York who basically moved down to Austin because it was cheaper and they were working virtually and they intended on basically continuing to work virtually. So, are you going to continue to see more virtual options and people choosing basically less expensive cities?
Yeah, that's think about this. You have a property in New York, you sell your property in New York, you buy a property down south, you make money hand over fist with that sell of property in New York. Now, big company comes to Austin. Now you're able to double your money again.
Yeah.
If that's if you own property, or some people just they just own, they just rent property and they actually never bought until they came down south. But it's interesting to think about these significant changes because when you're talking about a company the size of Tesla, is there going to be enough real estate in a city center, or are they going to, purchase property for headquarters or operating and manufacturing outside the city, the outskirts, or maybe like in a suburb of the city? So depending on where that occurs, if you already own property in proximity to the proposed location, you're in for a windfall because despite the amount of remote work that's available, there are several components, especially when you're talking about some of the proprietary stuff that
Yeah.
occurs behind closed doors. They want you on site in a secure facility. You're not
Yep.
taking that with you. And so with that being said, you have to work, or you have to be in proximity to the job, especially if you put in a lot of hours. You don't want to have to be commuting, 3-4 hours, not 3-4 hours, 45 minutes, an hour to work in traffic. You want to be close. And then some of the, depending on what your lifestyle is, maybe you want to be in a city center or close to, things that are really happening, to have like a social life. So yeah, I mean, the people that live in those areas, I mean, they're looking at making some substantial coin on this move for sure.
Yeah. The other thing is it depends on what type of policy it is in the sense of working, because I know my boss is already trying to convince my vice president to basically say, hey, let me work virtual from wherever, and then whenever I need to come in the office, I'll basically fly up here. So because he was talking about leaving the DC area, same thing, because it's so expensive in the taxes. So it just depends on also the situation of are you working with a company where, like you said, if it's more classified proprietary stuff where they're going to want you coming in every day, or can you get away with maybe coming in the office 2 days out of the week? All of that'll play a role into what people think they do is best, what they think is best.
Yep.
Also, too, the thing I guess you got to look at with Texas, I didn't realize when you're looking at properties is people who always move there always sell up no state income tax, but I heard they kill you on property taxes.
Yeah, that's what I talked about this previously. Actually, I think
Yeah,
I was
we talked about this.
did I talk about it with you too?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, property taxes in Texas or in Houston. I think it depends on the municipality, but generally speaking, in Texas, but particularly in Houston, I can speak on that because I live there and I own property there. My property taxes in Houston were double than they are here in Washington as a percentage. We talk about that because property values are based on a percentage of the property value.
Y'all believe this? Y'all believe this bakery claims that high revenues are unaffected by COVID? $295, cash flow $115.
Yeah. You have to actually look at the books and make sure them books ain't been cooked.
Cause I looked at it and I saw that shit. I said, this is literally too good to be true. That's $295, $115 on cash flow. What is the net profit of that $115? Cause the $115 ain't net.
Yeah.
That $115 ain't net. That has to be somewhat in the margin of what, 40 maybe 60.
Well, I mean, it depends. Like, certain businesses have high.
Okay, wait a minute. This business has 212, and they claim the cash flow is 89 or 90.
Yeah, that's
I want to be able to figure out the EBITDA because I can't really do too much without the EBITDA.
even still, okay, let's break down those numbers.
Let's
Right.
psychoanalyze this shit.
So you have a cash flow of 89,000 based on the gross revenue of, let's just say, 212, right? So that
Yeah.
212, out of that 212, how much? Okay, so we're talking about like maybe 90, 110, $120,000. What is, just throw this number out, $120,000 in expenditures. What is that money going towards? We have rent at 2360, right? What about your overhead as far as your raw materials? You got to buy
Well,
fresh fruit, or your water costs. Then you got to look at your utilities.
let me push through the business description so we can get at least a more clear view. All of us can. Offered for sale, an extremely popular bar concept, trending and in high demand product across the Houston city. This particular business specializes in the creation of Louisiana-style frozen daiquiris to daiquiris to go. Daiquiris to go. This business is located in north of Houston. Faces little to no direct competition in the immediate area. Established in 2019 with all new equipment and extremely vibrant design. This establishment is favored by many local residents. Business currently operates Wednesday through Sunday with substantial opportunities for growth and increased revenue by extending operation days and hours. Currently, business is owner operated with the assistance of one additional full-time employee. Over 50,000 in FF&E and leasehold improvements at fair market value included in the sale. Attractive monthly lease, excellent opportunity for entrepreneurs seeking a passive income or new entrepreneurs seeking a fun, exciting concept to continue to evolve to take to the next level. Location in Houston. Inventory including an asking price. Real estate is leased. Square feet is 1280. So 1,280 square feet. One employee. Furniture, fixtures, equipment, and facilities included asking price. Facility. So established 1 to 2 years. So it's a 2-year business. Business growth has been due to providing consistent quality and strong daiquiris, including to good customer service and a clean environment. Competition overview, established presence, prime location, friendly, experienced staff, clean and great atmosphere, the consistency of our products, formulas, the quality of our product, the strength and the smoothness. Okay, yada, 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 yada. Positive reviews from the customers, cleanliness of our establishment, street side accessibility, high traffic, next door to other busy retailers, fully equipped facility, strong management, and loyalty among its customers, growth and expansion, potential growth. The business use social media to market the business by connecting with new and existing customers. They use social media posts, specials, post-sponsored ads, which help to increase. Okay. Matter of fact, I can do the social media marketing with just Facebook ads, Facebook, Google ads, whatever they're doing. They're probably using Instagram ads in order to be able to get this situation due to the fact that Instagram is more picture based. Okay, which helps in generate a large customer base and revenue. I wonder if they're drop shipping because I can implement that easily. due to the kind of ABC permit they hold, they were fortunate to see little loss of income and face no shutdowns during the pandemic in 2020. So let me repeat this again. Due to its kind of TABC permit they hold, they were fortunate to see little loss of income and face no shutdowns in the pandemic of 2020. Support and training they'll give is 2 weeks. Reason for selling, family. Now let's look at this situation again. And from that description, what do y'all fellas got out of it? Y'all still with me?
I'm still with you.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. From that long ass description, I just pretty much barked. What was y'all opinion on it? 89 gross 89. Well, gross revenue. Matter of fact, let me go back to it so y'all can see it again. But out of description, they pretty much had no shutdown due to the fact that they had a permit, pretty much having them going nonstop, running nonstop. The gross revenue $212,000. Cash flow 89. So we got.
The question then becomes is,
because it's selling for family.
how many employees are there?
One.
Is it a sole proprietorship? Is it a sole proprietorship, or is there the owner and the employee?
That's going to be the question. That's literally our question.
See,
is it the owner and the employee? Is it the owner and the employee? That's pretty much the underlying question.
Because okay, let's look at the two options. If it's the owner and the employee, and part of your cash or part of your gross revenue has already been calculated as payroll, minus that, you still have $89,366 left over. If that's the business you're interested in, then it might make sense. $89
on an asking price, that's pretty sweet. That's a high cash on cash return.
Yes, but the actual cash on cash.
And plus,
return,
I can probably beat down on the price. The price.
The cash on cash return doesn't take into account your sweat equity as an actual owner, because you actually have to work.
You're being in that situation.
Side by side with your employee. Now,
your owner manager.
Yes. Now, if it's a sole proprietorship, that's even worse. You're doing all the work by yourself to get that $89,000 profit after expenses. And now, again, if that's something that you want to do, that's a different story. But if you have that amount of capital on your own, is that something you really want? Like if you have $180,000 to spend on a business, do you want to dedicate this amount of time to this particular business, or are you just trying to get in there and kind of do a changing of the guards and get somebody in there to actually run the day-to-day operations?
Hell no. I'd rather somebody do the day-to-day operations, and that's definitely going to cut in my cash flow. Probably half of this, because half of what this situation is, the 90. Yeah, that 90 would probably be cut in half to 45. Which 45, I ain't necessarily mad with 45 having that scenario, because it's still a high ass cash on cash return. Because with 180,000, usually the cash on cash return people expect is really 6% on the situation of this 180 if they're gonna put something down.
Well, I would say after that $180,000 purchase price, I would say I wouldn't expect any cash flow in your first year. because you have to get in there.
wouldn't
They're
expect
you probably have to get
cash
some.
flow in my
Probably have to
first
get
3 years. I wouldn't expect cash flow in my first 3 years.
yeah, and so then you start looking at it from that particular perspective.
I'm listening.
I would say, I mean, if you're familiar with that particular business, or something associated with it, either like some type of food industry or some type of drink bartending, something along those lines. You're kind of accustomed to the concept. Then it may be something worthwhile because it'd be a lot easier for you to transition into a hands-off ownership model. But yeah, for the average person, you have to put a lot of work into that, get that up and running, because the other issue is finding somebody that you can trust to actually do the day-to-day.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. And the person that one person could have literally just said that one employee is literally like the owner's ace. And I don't want to have a scenario where he knows the business way better than I do, and that leads to a conflict of interest, and it leads too many gaping holes of potential embezzlement on the person that's been there.
Well,
let me type in Houston. I'm not getting a location. Let me type in Houston.
I think you would have to really already have a plan in place for expansion to keep that idle mind occupied. You're so busy expanding locations, and you're having him, help you out with the expansion, and you're giving a percentage of the profits, that come from the expanding locations. That the concept of or the thought of double cross you never crosses his mind.
Yeah, that's true. Oh shit, I didn't misspelled the hell out of that. My bad. Let me fix that. I'm trying to get a picture of the location of where
there
it's
you go,
at.
right there. Beach Nut. I know that area. Scroll back up. To the map. Yep, that's on the southwest side. West Park Tollway. I'm familiar with that area. The thing about it, then that West Park Tollway area, I'm trying to think, is that because there's a lot of traffic on a feeder road? If that's on a feeder road, that could be a hot location.
Yeah, man, that's this is full market analysis. What we doing, right? For all the people that's coming in, thank you. Please like, share, subscribe. And anybody that wants to book a consultation, email me at bhmdf25@gmail.com. And all the people that's tuning in that wants to join the panel, this is an open panel. Please click the link and mute up as well as you coming in. Okay, so you're saying that the West Park Tollway is pretty much a hot scenario, because I only been to Houston like a handful of times, man. Houston was fun, but only been to the Westheimer area.
Yeah, Westheimer area, obviously it's like super hot, super high traffic area, high visibility. But the West Park area is underrated because that West Park Toll Road. That's what a lot of people take that to and from work. I've been on that West Park Toll Road area many times, going to the corporate building for the place that I worked for various training exercises and stuff like that. And so he did to go to the West Park Toll Road area, and the West Park Toll Road basically it's a toll road, and so a lot of people just ride the feeder road as opposed to taking the toll road. And so as you're on the feeder, you're driving past a lot of establishments, and you see people going in and out of those establishments while they're in traffic, and you have visibility. So probably one of the keys would be to invest in a large sign that's visible from the toll road.
Okay, now this business is located on the north. The business for sale with the 212 $89,000 cash flow. That's pretty much on the north. The business for sale is literally listed as we speak. So, you know, it's in an area. It's in an area where high traffic is at. It has the cash flow. I would definitely want to assign, because I'm big on pretty much establishing, trying to team build and do shit like that. So I rather assign management authority to somebody, and plus expansion. I need to work something out with the franchise, with the corporate people. So the shit wasn't stopped down by no shutdowns. Pretty much this motherfucker was running nonstop. Compared to shit in California. Shit in California was running very slow. But this high traffic plus the motherfucking shit was running nonstop. Cash flow and profit for business owners was going. Renaissance, you with me? Renaissance.
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 Les Renaissance. Parlez-vous français?
Jesus. My man. Renaissance. I don't know. He taking a shit, kicking a sandwich.
Nah, my bad. I stepped away for a second.
Okay. Yo, I need your opinion on this, man. Chime in.
Wait, no, I missed it. What were you? Sorry.
Okay, pretty much we found a franchise in Houston that has a good scenario where the asking price is 180. Was you there for that?
Nah, I may have stepped away and missed that part.
Okay. Now, me and Super Triz pretty much broke down the numbers. We was number crunching, and we figured out a scenario where there's room for expansion. I'm going to share my screen one time. Salute to Mr. Mike Ship. Salute to you. This is an open panel for anybody that wants to come in, like the button, share, and subscribe. But yeah, Renaissance, we pretty much was number crunching, and I'm going to share my screen so you can be able to see, so you can get the visual. And pretty much we're going to just do a 30-second overview. Now, this is the asking price, 180. The cash flow is 90,000. But the gross revenue is 212, and me and Super Triz pretty much agreed at the fact that most of this 212 went to payroll. All the furnitures and expenditures is pretty much this amount right here, 30,000 or 29,000. So we pretty much decided that in order to get involved with this, you would probably need another employee. The employee that's currently here now, because it's pretty much a owner employee type business. So the owner pretty much works hand to hand with the employee on the day-to-day situations. But me and Super Triz pretty much said that we can get another employee in there in order to assign.
But when he says one employee, are you sure he's not just counting himself?
That was a debate whether or not it's a sole proprietorship or if he has an employee. And either way, if his business model is set to where either business model involves the actual owner being involved in the day-to-day operations. And so what me and Real Deal were talking about was we would want to step away from that business. We would want to have the business kind of be self-sufficient. We would obviously, check in on the operations, but the day-to-day operations will be handled by personnel that we appoint.
Exactly.
What business are they in specifically?
Daiquiri business.
Fast food.
Wait, say that again.
Daiquiri.
Or daiquiris to go. Daiquiris to go, yeah.
Okay.
Daiquiris to go. and look at the map one more time, and we was pretty much delegating the fact that it's in a high traffic area.
So essentially, if you're not familiar with this whole daiquiris concept, this is something that's very popular in Louisiana. When I used to live in Louisiana when I was in the military, I've been all over. So I was in Louisiana for like a year and a half, and they would have these drive-through daiquiri places.
Oh, is this like I think I had a coworker who told me, but is this basically a place you can drive through and basically get alcohol?
Yeah, alcoholic daiquiri.
Yeah,
Like a frozen drink daiquiri alcohol. Yeah.
And
So
No,
the whole business model revolves around the insane markup. So anybody that's in the retail industry understands that drinks have an insane markup. Like if you go to the gas station, we talked about the gas station last time. The fountain drinks in the gas station have like I want to say it's something like a 200. No, not me. I'm sorry, like a 1,000% markup. It's like an insane markup on the actual drinks because each drink costs about 2 cents to make. That you go to the fountain to get like the Pepsi, the Big Gulp, whatever. Each drink is about 2 cents plus the cup is another 5 cents.
Yeah, and the reason why I'm sure it's high in gas stations is my understanding of the whole gas station model is that's really where you make your money, not on the gas, but getting people actually in there buying stuff.
Exactly. This is the reason
we're gonna
why.
go for that next. We're gonna research for that next.
The only thing with this that makes me wonder, because this is in a like when you buy the business, you're still gonna have to rent the building, correct?
Let me give you the numbers on the.
But I think that's included. That's included. Like so, he had the actual rent in there. So you're renting the building, and so the actual that 89,000 that was after all the monthly expenditures were paid out.
Okay, because
Yes.
part of me wonders if you could take this business and turn it into almost like a food truck. Like,
ooh,
like
now you're talking.
Yeah, like take the name and then
that's why I need your opinion. That's why I wanted your opinion, Renaissance, because the scenario can be convertible into the food truck model.
Yeah.
This is a 212 situation. The rent is $2,400. I highlighted that for you. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. And pretty much the inventory, furniture expenditures, that's all in this 29 that I highlighted right here. So the food truck model is very smart due to the fact that you can expand it. Plus, it's a franchise model.
But here's the question.
It's a franchise model.
Here's the question.
Mm-hmm.
In order to sell alcoholic beverages, you have to have some sort of liquor license, correct?
Yeah, you definitely gonna need that.
So that liquor license that liquor license is tied to that business name. So you're paying for the liquor license as well. But my question then becomes does that liquor license extend to a food truck? Say for instance, you bought the business and you said, okay, we're not going to pay rent anymore. We're going to get a food truck instead and cut our operating costs in half by having a food truck instead of this physical location that we're paying rent to. No, Mike Ship, this is in Texas. Is there any stipulations as far as the liquor license extending to the food truck? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, is it more of does the license follow the person who's technically the owner of the LLC, or does it follow like a location? That's really what you got to figure out.
Yeah.
Okay. See,
common sense to me would say it almost be like if you have the license, maybe there's some sort of fee for extra fee, but I would imagine it would have to follow the person. Like I imagine if you bought this and the license came with it, you would have to probably go through some sort of check to get the license transferred.
And Mike Ship, you got a good point. Now here's the thing, right? Mike Ship says food trucks are popping. Here's the thing. Okay, so there's a guy that I know out here in Seattle. He was a barber, or he still is a barber. He worked at a location, an expensive location. They were charging him an arm and a leg for booth rent. So he got a box truck, and he converted the box truck into a mobile barbershop. And he did this before the whole COVID thing. Like, there was no idea COVID was going to happen. But COVID happened like maybe 2 months after he had his mobile barbershop going. When I say he made a killing, I went to his house. He got this cold ass house now, him and his wife. And he done bought another trailer to do coffee. He's like a coffee trailer. Because people get this little drive-through coffee type stuff. And so, but the thing about it is that his costs were substantially cheaper than even a food truck, because what he did was he bought a trailer and then bought a shed from like Home Depot or Lowe's, put the shed on the trailer, made some simple modifications, got electricity with the solar powered.
Oh wow!
Listen, like it's because a new food truck, or even not even like a used good condition food truck. I've seen some of them 50, 60,000. All in, his trailer was probably about 10,000.
Yep.
That's with the trailer and the actual shed on top of the trailer. 10,000, 12,000, something like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I saw that the first time I saw like a mobile barbershop like that, it was in the UK. It was basically the same thing. Guy had an app. They'd say, "Hey, we be in this location," or we can book it around. Hey, you can meet us at this location, and it was just pretty much like going to a barbershop. They park, had the mirrors to set up. You come get a cut, and then move on your way.
Now, see, with a daiquiri thing, the business model will probably, or the logistics will probably be a little bit different. You probably have a little bit higher upfront cost. We're probably talking closer to 15,000, maybe. Number one, you'll probably need you'll need a truck to pull it, unless you're gonna park it in a static location, which is a possibility as well. But if you have a truck and you go back and forth home, see, it'd be easier to secure your actual capital if you could take it back home every day at the end of the day. You see what I'm saying? As opposed to leaving it at a physical location that's different from where you live, and you don't have anywhere to actually monitor it and secure it. But if you actually have it on a trailer, you drive the trailer up to your location every day, and then you have your truck that you pull it with, perhaps some type of generator in the bed of the truck, because you won't have enough solar power to run everything, because there's just not enough roof space to get that much solar energy. So you're gonna have to have some type of auxiliary source, unless you're plugged into the electricity at the physical location that you're parked at. You have a generator in your truck, and so you have to have a truck that can pull it, and then have a generator, and then of course the trailer cost. So you're probably talking all in, closer to 30,000. But then you don't have that high monthly cost of $2,000 cutting into your bottom line. And with the money you save month to month, that $2,000 a month can pay for another part-time employee.
Not to mention, I would imagine if you want to do that model, well, two things really. First of all, just your fixed costs, you can basically control them. So if you aren't working, you're basically not having to pay for electricity. Versus if you're in a store, you're going to have to do that. That's just going to be sunk cost regardless. But the other thing I'd imagine too, like if you're in the Dallas metro area or something like that, I imagine you can start partnering with some of these companies, and do something like a Friday happy hour or something like that, where instead of people having to go off site, you just say, hey, I'll pull my truck up here at your employee site and just serve margaritas or whatever right there on site.
And then you can do something simple, because again, you followed it. What you really want to do is follow the gas station model. You already got the drinks. You added a bit of alcohol, which is different from the gas station model, but the concept is still the same. You got the drinks, which you have an insane markup on. What else does the gas station have insane markup on? The hot dogs. Get you some all beef hot dogs, nice brioche buns, and just jazz it up. Throw some onions on there, or some, now you got hot dogs that are easy to cook, and it's just it's real simple, high profit margins, and then you can increase your profit margin because now they got something to eat with the drinks, and plus you got some food on your stomach, they can drink more.
That's beautiful. This is beautiful model.
No, because the thing we always
Beautiful.
ran into at my job was when people won't do happy hours. We were located outside the city, and people lived in the opposite direction. So no one ever wanted to go, like, as a group out into the city unless it was young people, just because they were like, I'm gonna have to drive all the way down there and drive home. Versus if you just do something at the job and then people can go home.
Oh, so in response to Mike Ship, the what we're talking about Texas. So the solar panels would run some of the things inside, but you're gonna have to have additional power because you're gonna have to run AC the entire time. It's too hot in Texas to have any type of business without having AC 24/7 while you're working. So you're gonna have to have AC draws a lot of power. So you're gonna have either a generator. You're gonna have to be plugged into auxiliary power on site.
And plus, the beautiful part about the scenario is no economic slowdown. No economic slowdown. No type of scenario of them pretty much being heavy-handed on it in that area.
Yeah, because
if this business was in California, it'd have been a dub.
well, then also you got to think about during the pandemic, alcohol consumption probably went up. Number one,
Increase.
and number two,
The shit increased.
yeah, and number two, if you
I'm drinking
convert
right now.
to the food truck model or food trailer model, it's an outside dining experience. So you never really have to shutter your doors. People come up to the truck, get their stuff, and they leave, or maybe they hang out in that general vicinity, but they're outside. Or you can put up a tent, and a tent is still considered outdoor dining. Put up a little tent, have like a couple chairs, sit them down.
It works well too for people, like if you don't want to make this a year-round business, like if this is more like a seasonal type of thing, if you have a brick and mortar, you're pretty much stuck with that year-round. Versus if it's just a truck, as long as you get rid of your inventory and if it's just you running it, then you really just have to upkeep your truck during, say, the winter time, and you can go do something else that makes more sense, and then sort of open back up in the summer if it's a seasonal type thing.
This is true. Or you can do a conversion, like the season that you're doing one thing, and then at the end of that season, you completely switch over the truck, which is probably a lot quicker and easier. And then you go to your secondary business for the rest of the year.
Yeah, go from like in the summer, if you got like margaritas or whatever, go to like hot chocolate or something in the winter.
Yeah,
eggnog during Christmas.
There you go.
But when it comes to the aspects of this business, I like the fact that how it has high traffic on an economy that's pretty much running nonstop. The generator still keeps cranking. That's the beautiful part about it. Because here in LA, man, the shit has gotten from bad to worse to completely despicable. If you're not Walmart, you're pretty much fucked.
Yeah, I just
Walmart,
got
Target.
word. I just got word from my cousin earlier today. He lives in Las Vegas. So essentially in Las Vegas, the casinos are closed Monday through Thursday.
Yes, they are.
The strip is
I can
closed.
tell you that. Yes, I can tell you
Monday
that from
through
experience.
So what that means is that they've calculated the revenue that they receive Monday through Thursday, and they determined that the revenue that it made more financial sense to shutter their doors than to have them open. That's crazy. They're not making enough money to pay the bills to keep it open during the week. So it's more cost effective to close Monday through Thursday. That's insane. Can you imagine that? And they still and see like you were saying, because they're brick and mortar, they still have to pay money to secure those buildings. They have to have security in those buildings, 7 days a week still, even if they're not open. They have to pay the electricity. Just the operating cost of buildings that massive, even if nobody's in them, is insane.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to ask you, Triz or Real, do y'all just do when you look at real estate? Do you just look at rentals like that, or do you look like either REITs or investing in real estate that way, or like things like roof stock?
Well, REITs would be stocks. REITs are stock.
Well, the roof stock is I think it's a website.
It's like Fundrise.
Yeah.
It's like Fundrise. I know what you're talking about. I sign contracts, so it's pretty much me doing wholesale real estate, and that's what I'm going to do. I think tomorrow I'm going to have a live stream going that in very extreme detail. I'm going to look at Houston real estate and Renaissance. You buy a computer, G?
Yeah, I'm right on my computer right now.
Okay. Share your screen, and pretty much we're gonna dig deep into properties that you're interested in your market. Because I can do pretty much Texas all night, but what market you say if you would have like $300,000 liquid from an insurance policy, saved up investments, even Amazon and drop shipping. Because I'm pretty much about to invoke that benchmark. Seem like any time closer before June 2021. So that's why I'm looking at real estate heavily. So I'm pretty much looking at markets that y'all interested in to be able to see what I can potentially do. So share your screen. Any real estate market, any real estate business, or any type of business. We're pretty much gonna psychoanalyze the shit out of what you would do. So you got open.
Yeah. You want me to just type in real estate Washington DC?
Yeah, man. Any market, man. Any market that you're in or interested in.
There's a couple of websites that you can look at. You can either look at LoopNet, Realtor.com, or even Redfin. Those are good resources, or even Zillow is another good resource to look
up.
Okay,
the median listing price is $308 in Houston. Okay. So I got a number.
Maybe you can look up median real estate prices by city, like maybe, or just have like a list.
Okay, real estate median prices by city.
It's not letting me share. I got something wrong with my notification with my settings. I don't know what's going on.
You push share screen and it wouldn't let you?
Yeah, no, it's not.
Well, let me well, first let me
I can look it up. I can look it up. Look it up.
Yeah, look it up.
It could be StreamYard too. My computer acts funny with StreamYard.
I'll go to Realtor.com.
Yeah, Realtor's cool.
And then we'll just look at Washington DC.
because we looking at multiple markets. We trying to figure out what's the
I actually do Atlanta because I'm more familiar with Atlanta than DC. Actually, I've only lived in DC for a little bit over a year.
even better. I've been looking
Atlanta,
at
it is.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm pretty familiar with the layout there.
Because I want to do this for the audience and the people that's listening on the playback, so they can be able to get some data, some numbers, some visuals, and actually get their head in the game when it comes to this. When it comes to this specifically, because real estate is very diligent based, very research heavy, and also very can be very meticulous. It says here, U.S. cities where home prices have increased the least and the highest. But yeah, the Atlanta markets, we'll look at that as well. Has jumped and fell the most. Okay, if you thought you can snap up a bargain on a home this year, you might have been wrong. Millions of Americans are out of work, and the U.S. has officially entered in a recession. Yet home prices haven't. Oh shit! Damn, this shit didn't jump on it, dude. Oh, metro areas had 30%.
But you know what happened? They're saying basically all the people who were living in the city
30%
when COVID hit,
fewer active homes.
all the
Mm.
yeah, well, when COVID hit, they were saying a bunch of people basically found out, hey, I can work from home and I don't want to be in the city like that. So people just started buying up properties in the suburbs.
Yet home prices haven't been hit the same degree as another sectors of the economy. Zillow reported in July, the median sales price in the U.S. has went up 4.6% year over year in May to 263,000, and according to Zillow, an increase of 50 major metros. So, damn. So this is pretty much has increased highly. So by June 2020, typical metro areas had 30% fewer active home listings than in the year before, according to Brookings. Low inventory can drive up home prices. For example, some metros in Florida, which had only a modest decline in listings, saw prices drop or increase significantly, suggesting those cities may have been experiencing excess supply, according to Brookings. Economic recovery in various metros across the nation is as diverse as the places themselves, as indicated by the Brookings Metro Recovery Index, which tracks recovery through COVID-19 crisis. The index tracks impacts and trajectories in three major categories: the labor market, the real estate market, and other areas in the economy's activity. The tracker is updated at least monthly. Okay,
You
so
got
the
someone in the
biggest
back too,
changes
real.
in the median home prices in 30 U.S. cities. Oh, you got someone in the back? Okay. Let me bring him up. Let me bring him up. Thank you, because I am not looking at. I am. Thank you for patiently waiting. Oh, my man, bro, genius.
What's going on, everyone?
What's going on, G?
What's up?
Oh shit. Okay. Let me share, my man. Super Triz's screen, real quick brief. Bro Genius.
Oh, yo, what up?
My Chi-Town brother. What's going on, G?
Yeah, I hear you guys were talking about certain markets, but not. Man, in the Midwest, you could pretty much kind of use the golden egg with Section 8. Get you about $100,000, $50,000 to $100,000 investment. You can get your return in about 5 to 6 years, and be just collecting ACH checks from the government. Section 8 and like grade D neighborhoods, grade C neighborhoods. Well, the grade C neighborhoods will be a little bit more as far as costs, but I mean, Midwest is like wide open, man. A lot of people actually do have REITs, and they're private REITs, and it's just basically some guys that got an investment company, and they got a bunch of people pulling money together. They buying up properties all across the country. They buy a lot in Chicago and in like Northwest Indiana area, buying up properties. Because all you need is a local resource, someone that could oversee the property or just even find you a property. I mean, a lot of things are available now where it's like if you already own the property and you rent it out, all you got to do is have like TaskRabbit or Angie's List, and you could just basically have somebody go to your house and fix the property, and you pay them all through an app. So it's a lot easier to be a remote landlord versus maybe 20 years ago.
So right now, thank you for that. If you're looking at the screen right now, I'm looking at a property that's actually in Chicago. Are you familiar with this area? You live in Chicago, correct?
Bro Genius does.
I'm born and raised in Chicago. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
wow, that's a cheap one.
Okay,
Yes.
so are you familiar with this particular area?
3,000 square feet. Dang.
So this area is in the south side of Chicago.
Oh boy.
It's a grade D neighborhood. But let's talk about Section 8. Okay, Section 8 allows you to get a guarantee versus just a typical landlord that's getting cash.
Yeah.
So this actual price, I mean, you gotta imagine also it's got one photo. You guys know about the one photos, right?
Oh yeah.
So that property, I mean, basically they're hiding what's inside, which means you gotta assume the worst, right? So
yeah.
Talk about
one caveat. When you see one photo, you always scroll down and you look at the number of days that's on Realtor.com, highlighted right here, 75 days. So that's 100% confirmed they're hiding something.
Yeah.
Now, if you look and it says 1 day or 6 hours, sometimes they just haven't uploaded the pictures yet. So just check back and then see if they got upload some pictures after that. But after a week and you got one picture, they're definitely hiding something.
Yeah.
Might be a body.
So the thing about it is with if I just sight unseen, because it's probably most likely a D grade, also D grade property as far as property, as far as the grade of the property itself, and maybe even worse, a F grade. You assume that basically you're looking at about 50 to close to the 100K range to fix it up. But that might be a stretch. You have to see inside the property. But when I see those one photos, I automatically assume, and especially if the price, okay, I already assume that it's a grade D property at the very least. At the very most, it's probably an F or D grade property. In the neighborhood, I definitely know that neighborhood. That's like not too far from that's like over. It's not too far from literally drill music, Chief Keef and the O Block area. I mean, literally, like that's like the heart of the South Side, like where most of the freaking news stories. And it's like with Chicago, it's certain hot spots. Like a lot of like even this property you showing me now, you want like anywhere around Inglewood. I mean, it's like the Bronx of New York. Like it's the worst part of Chicago.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So those are where the because you gotta assume like okay. I did a stream, okay, as far as like certain properties and stuff like Hyde Park. They got $1 million properties in Hyde Park, right? Well, it's a reason why these properties are even in Chicago. It's a reason why they're $12,000, $40,000, $50,000. Because pretty much what
Genius. How much is the rent?
You can get.
How much does
You
the
can
rent?
get 1,200 for 3 to 4
So I
people
can rent it out.
or higher. You can get you got some people paying $1,500 for a 4-bedroom or even more. But the thing is, it's like Inglewood is like it's like one of the worst neighborhoods in Chicago. Most of all you gotta do is go on YouTube and type in Inglewood, Chicago, Illinois, and you'll get all kind of stuff, But in certain areas you gotta look like okay. So in Chicago, it's a bunch of neighborhoods. So up north is more of the C, B, A grade neighborhoods in the north side of Chicago. The west side of Chicago is really like I'm not even from the west side. Like people in Chicago, like from the south side and the west side, like we don't like each other. Like like I'm not really familiar with the western part of Chicago, but I'm primarily south side. But north side, you don't even have enough money to really even get in the north side. It's that expensive. But
Super Triz, after this, we're gonna look at Atlanta.
yeah.
Okay. Well, just real quick, I just want to mention,
Yeah.
based on what he said, as you look at the screen, you see the map. These are actual real estate listings for multifamilies.
Yeah.
And what you find here is that
Let me help
all
you
of the
guys out.
multifamily.
Let me help you guys out. Let me give you some gold. Anywhere close to the lake on the south side is the money areas. So you could go 10 to 5 miles from the lake. That's the money area on the south side. When you go west, it's kind of hit or miss until you go to where it says Oak Lawn and Bridgeview. That's where the white people live. So anywhere close to that. Yeah. But well, go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, it's okay. I was essentially saying that if you look at the screen and you see the map here, this is the map of the real estate listings, the multifamily in the Chicago area. And as you can see, the concentration of multifamilies are on the west and south sides of Chicago. And these are when we hear of stories of shootings and violence, we always hear about the west and south side of Chicago. So probably you'll be hard pressed to find multifamily that are actually affordable in the more affluent or even nicer areas, north side as you referred to, and as you get closer to the actual coastline of the Great Lake, you see some properties over there, but the concentration primarily is as you get away from that water line. Now I see some over here. But I would imagine these properties in this particular vicinity are a little bit more costly. As you can see, there's a significant increase in price.
Yeah.
We were looking at properties that were in a $35,000 price range, and we see properties now that are 10 times that amount, 357,000.
So what a guy told me that I went to high school with got way more money than I got. He said basically the white boys is buying up all the properties. They're buying up everything. Like this one building you're showing, it's already got a contingent offer on it. I mean, they're buying up everything sight unseen a lot of times. Because one thing about like say if we just had a REIT, right? It's very typical for private REITs that to buy properties and lots sight unseen. They don't even care what they look like inside. They already have a process or a perspective of what they're gonna do with those properties, and they'll just buy properties sight unseen. So they're buying up everything.
Well, and that's the thing that I was talking about earlier. Well, actually, I think I talked about this on BGS stream. I basically referred to the business model of waiting till the property values dwindle to such a point that you can buy properties in bulk, either individually or as an investment group. If you're able to buy multiple properties on the same street, then you're able to actually influence the actual direction of that neighborhood.
Exactly.
If you only buy one property and the other properties are owned by people you don't know, or maybe they're owned by, there's maybe some residents in that area, and that neighborhood is already depressed. The people that are there have been there. They haven't improved it up to this point. They're not going to improve it now. But if you come in there and you say, okay, I got all 4 houses on this particular street, and then I got another group that's buying these 4 houses, and you guys simultaneously improve that neighborhood, then you can instantaneously, increase that property value. And so, like, when you see a property like this for $25,000, you can buy it sight unseen because you understand that the actual value of the land is more than the cost of the property itself.
Real Deal asked me something else very important. He asked me what are the rents. So literally, because the rents is the potential to collect is very high. It's not like very low, like maybe like Gary, Indiana or something. You can buy just about any property sight unseen. Who cares if it's a D grade or even F grade? You put $100,000 into it. Let's just say you're out 150. Well, okay, 10 years collecting $1,500, rent. You gonna get your return in about 9 years. Okay, and then you're printing money. So it's very it's still affordable compared to other like what you guys are looking at in Dallas and other parts of the country. I mean, who cares if you out 150 when you gonna get 1,500 guaranteed from the government every month? I mean, and most Section 8 tenants, like my uncle got a tenant next door from me. She's been renting for 6 years. He done already got his money back a couple years ago, and he just print money. So it's very cost efficient as far as the investment point in the Chicago area.
Okay, now we're gonna look at a couple of multifamily situations, duplexes, fourplexes. Then I want to be able to see what's the fast food franchise situation going on in Atlanta, Georgia. Waffle houses. We're gonna research Waffle houses. Any Waffle houses for sale in the Atlanta, Georgia market?
Damn. The property values just went for the last 5 years. Just went crazy. I mean, this little small look like a little shotgun house is $135,000. I mean,
wait, where is it? Yeah, I was going to say. So what's happening in Atlanta is okay. So that's 285. I'm not sure specifically where it is, but what's happening is everybody wants to move in the city. And they have the Beltline in Atlanta. That's like, I want to say one of the largest like urban renewal projects in America right now. So it's basically just a walking path where you can walk, bike. They got shops and all that along there. So that's attracting a bunch of people, as well as I think a bunch of people up north are wanting to live in the city too.
And people are still moving to Atlanta, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's one of the fastest growing metros in the country. A bunch of companies are moving there. Amazon was on the short list for for trying to move there. I want to say recently, like BNASF, they moved their headquarters there. AT&T did they did have theirs, but I think they moved theirs to Dallas. You still got Coke, Delta, Porsche, Home Depot, UPS, CNN. Yeah,
Yeah, I've been to Atlanta one time, and I was there with my ex. I wish I was by myself, man.
yeah. No, that's the ratio of men to women is crazy.
Okay, so my question then becomes is, what area should we focus our search on?
It depends. If you're just looking at rental properties, you can kind of look wherever. If you're going to look for some equity gain, you want to go further north, though.
Well, the equity gain is obviously going to result in the property initial upfront cost being more. So we're trying to keep our costs down. So
Yeah.
let's look at. Let me see what's the. I want to look for the cheapest fourplex.
That's probably. I mean, if you don't care about level, you're probably going to look in like almost College Park is technically outside of Atlanta, but somewhere like there, or even somewhere in like Clayton County, which is a little bit further south.
Can you explain Bankhead and Buckhead?
So Buckhead is one of the wealthiest areas, I think, in the entire country. I think it's in like the top 20, maybe even top 10. So that's where that's like your Beverly Hills of Atlanta.
Okay.
That Brookhaven, Midtown, like, I mean, it's not so expensive in the sense of no one can afford to live there. It's expensive to buy like property there, like homes, because a lot of them are on estates. You're talking like $2-3 million, but they do have like a lot of apartments for like young professionals who want to live in Buckhead.
Look at this. Here we go. Here we go. Now this definitely looks like it's at least 4 units. Let me see. Let's see here. Where's the details at here? Wait, hold on. This is a duplex with 12 bedrooms? This is a big duplex. Let me go back, because I was thinking that was gonna be multiple units. Okay, here we go, right here. Here we go, fourplex right here.
And then Buckhead is what, the like poor side of?
No, Bankhead. Buckhead's the rich part. Bankhead is like where T.I. is from.
Oh, okay. Bankhead is the hood. Okay. Bankhead.
Okay, so I'm trying to look at the pictures and just get a quick assessment of the condition of the property. Looks like the interior has been renovated at least within the past 10 years.
That looks like B, C grade-ish.
I'm thinking closer to C, even though they've renovated the interior. From the outside, it looks like a C-class area.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's the out. Let me go back to the first picture to see the outside of it. So you see the outside of it is not like a prestigious area.
Nah, it looks like they definitely put some. Yeah, that looks like a C.
Oh yeah. C. Yeah, the exterior is definitely a C. And you could tell the landscaping. So, this probably is like a D grade neighborhood. If I mean, I'm a bet man. I'll bet $100 that's probably a D grade neighborhood. Just the landscaping alone, just based on the landscaping.
Then I figure too. You can correct me if I'm wrong on this, Triz. The fact that you kind of have that breezeway entrance versus an individual like entrance to each building.
Yeah. Well, so with the actual construction itself, because you can get new construction fourplexes, modular home builders will build you a modular fourplex with the breezeway presentation.
Oh, okay.
Because the breezeway presentation, it saves on manufacturing costs, because you have units that share a common stairway. So when you're looking, when you're trying to maximize every dollar, this is a lot more of an efficient method, unless you have them all on one level and you have an individual doorway that way without stairs. But then you run into the issue of increasing the footprint, and so there's constraints with your lot size
depending on the area you're in, there's a lot line coverage that doesn't allow you to build a certain percentage over the actual square footage of the lot itself. So, but this one, depending on how big, let's see how big the lot is. I think the lot is like 7,000 square foot. Let me see here. It doesn't have the actual lot size on here.
Yeah, it was built in
depending on the lot
1984, so they
size-
definitely did some renovation.
Yeah, and depending on the lot size, you have the ability, depending on the lot size and the actual zoning for that particular locale, you can actually add on additional properties. So, for a long-term standpoint, if you're buying holding, you have some expandability with this particular property because you can have two flanking properties where this grassy area is. You can have two flanking properties as you come into this main driveway, and they can all share that same parking lot.
Okay, for sure. I had to mute. I had to mute. Bro Genius, man, you had some feedback, G. Now, can we go to 2 more properties? Then let's see what we can be able to find when it comes to Waffle Houses.
Okay, let me see.
Waffle House is big time popular there. I don't know if it is everywhere else in the country, but that's kind of people go there for breakfast. But it really has its crowd come in like sort of after the party, after the club type of crowd.
Where is Marietta in near Atlanta? Is that north or is that south?
That's north.
That
Wait, say that again. Yeah, Marietta is north. So everything, so 285 is the bypass. For Atlanta, kind of like 495 is for DC. I'm not sure what the other one is, but that's sort of the circle around the city. So once you get outside of 285, you mainly get outside of what we consider Atlanta, like actual the city. Marietta is just going to be right north of 285. That's where Marietta is technically where the new Braves Stadium is.
Okay, is that where Buckhead is near or?
Nah, Buckhead is still north. It's just a little bit. You got to go a little bit further in before you get into from Marietta into Buckhead. It's not super far. Like I'd say probably 20, 30 minutes.
Because the reason I asked because I remember when I was up there, we were driving going towards Marietta, and there was a whole bunch of like mansions on this one road going into Marietta. And I'm not sure if that was like Buckhead or what that or that was that just Marietta itself.
Nah, you probably were because if you're coming all the way from the south going north, you will go through Buckhead or even Brookhaven. So if I had to guess, that's probably what it was. But Marietta is like it's kind of like a suburb that has you have your nice parts, and then you have your lower little bit rundown areas of it too. So it's kind of like a city within itself, almost like a bedroom community.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like all those cities around Atlanta, Marietta, Alpharetta, Snellville, Norcross, Tucker, Stockbridge, College Park, all those are pretty much like just suburb bedroom communities of the city.
Okay.
So this property here, the reason why I clicked on this one, this is in Cary Park. Are you familiar with this area?
Nah, not as much. No, I'd have to go out and see where we are, big picture.
So it looks like Northwest Atlanta area.
Okay.
So
This may be a little bit closer to the airport too.
I see Georgia Aquarium.
Okay, yeah. Oh, right near the. Okay, yeah. No, you're okay. No, I know where you are. Georgia Aquarium. There's East Point down that way.
Oh,
Okay,
no,
yeah.
far from Georgia Aquarium. Never mind. Like when I zoomed out, it made it look like
Rashid, salute.
Yeah,
Thank you for joining the panel.
What's going on, man? That's the west side of Atlanta right there.
okay.
What you talking about? That's what Bankhead. See over there, that's near the Smyrna area. Bankhead, that's more of the like kind of rougher area. And that house is actually coming out of that area. If you kind of zoom in just a little bit, I can give you a good depth on
Oh,
where
you're
it's
from
at.
Atlanta too, Sheed?
Yeah, I'm from Atlanta. I'm from the east side, but I stayed on the west side and right there, Collier Heights. Okay, because I stayed Harper Arches around the corner from Collier Heights. So right here in this area, like I said, you actually coming out of the rough part, so it's more into a mixture. So you're not really so far out of it. So it's generally in that area. It's like an in between. It's more of a mid. You got the rougher area that's kind of tipping toeing around there, but mostly it's like I said, it's in between. It's not Smyrna because once you cross over 285 area, that's Smyrna. And
Yep.
Smyrna is more the nicer area of that side.
Yeah, they're trying to build Smyrna up.
Yeah, because you know the Braves Stadium is over there.
Yeah.
Once they put that stadium over there, everything pretty much was okay. They have a road in Marietta called Franklin Road. It is exit 261, I believe, which is the Southern Poly Technical College over there.
Yep, I know exactly what you're
They
talking about. Yep.
they took Franklin Road, tore down all the apartments over there. They got a soccer stadium over there. They had like a convenience store area. They built a community park over there, and apartments that only sustain are like more or less like townhouses. So those are the ones that are actually being sold to the people. The other ones, like the rougher areas that they couldn't actually build into townhouses, they just completely demolished them.
Did when you say a soccer field, that's not where they put the Atlanta United stadium, is it?
No, that's not the place. See, over there it's more of a it's like a rec park for the kids. So it's kind of like getting the kids involved. It's like the rec park over there. Atlanta United is going towards Dorville, I believe. That no, those are the what is it? The Gorilla. It's like a offshoot, like the minor league park over there in Dorville.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure where they built the new park for the Atlanta United. But yeah,
Because I
that's
know
more of like
they were playing in Georgia Tech Stadium, I believe, at one point.
yeah. But they have a big that's what I don't understand because they have a minor league over there off of in Dorville. If you take 285 going towards 285 and you're actually getting on to 85 from 285, if you look to the left when you're going across that little curve, you see a big old soccer field over there. And that's where the minor league they played over there before they even had the Atlanta United. They always had the I think it was called the Gorillas or something. It was like a minor league soccer team over there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now the other part that's always interesting to me is the over there on when you coming from the airport near the airport where like Spawn Divots and all that is.
Yeah.
That area.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't tried. I see like where some people have bought some stuff and built it up, but I just figure as more people move into the city, people are going to try to buy that side of town because it's so close to the city on one side, and then you can get to the airport on the other.
Yeah, that's
know where
that's like
Mechanicsville's
more or
at?
less the Hateville community. Mechanicsville, you're looking at that area that's
Where's
more down
Mechanicsville?
into Atlanta. Mechanicsville is more down into Atlanta. Let's say if you there's 285 and I'm sorry, not 285, 75, 85, and 20. That downtown area, if you go into what is the name of that mall over there? It's a small mall. That's the Mechanicsville.
Chaos, thank you
area.
for joining the panel.
How you doing? I'm good.
I'm trying to get the name of the mall. Dang.
Not Stonecrest.
No, it's actually in this
You should please put in the private chat and subscribe because I jump on things and I don't
Black
know.
Introvert, salute. Thank you for coming in. Everybody that's coming in, this is open panel. Please like, share, and subscribe. And also, if you want to hit a donation via Cash App at $ Mr. Perfect 23G. Thank you. Okay. Mechanicsville. Mechanicsville.
Yeah.
Please search Mechanicsville.
What look?
Thank
What look?
Brother Super Triz, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah. Mechanicsville is the downtown. Matter of fact, can you hook my phone back up to my
I was gonna say that's gonna be definitely more of the hood too.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's down by Lee Street and all that. And then, like I said, they actually have a mall that's not that far from there. All right, I'm back hooked up to my computer.
Mexicannaville Atlanta Mall,
Yeah, it's a mall right on the side over there. It's not that
West
far.
End Mall,
Yeah,
Underground.
the West End. Yep, that's the West End Mall.
Okay.
And the
Okay.
West End Mall is actually like a small mall. It's probably, if anything, best about 15, less than 10 to 15 stores over there. And it's more like a neighborhood mall. It's, to be honest, it can be looked at as a strip mall. I mean, they get a lot of customers come throughout that area because of the close knit of the area, but Mechanicsville is right down the street from there. You got Mechanicsville, you got Summer Hill, all that area is rough, but it's actually being gentrified, as we speak. You got a lot of the commercial buildings being put up in
Yep.
Mechanicsville. So they're actually taking over that area, just one
Oh,
property at a time.
here we
But the
go.
best
So
property,
Mechanicsville essentially is like third. If anybody's from Houston or lived in Houston, is like third world.
the
Third
third
world.
world community, yep, prime example, yep.
Because
Yep. Yep.
I was.
Because
Oh, go
it,
ahead,
third
Triz.
world, like when I was there, they was starting the gentrification, and I had an opportunity to buy some property over there, but um, at the time, I was plotting my move elsewhere, and I ended up here in Seattle. But there was a time, when that gentrification started, there was prime opportunity to really get in there and get some property on the low before the property values shot up, and you could just buy the property and sit on it, not do any renovations whatsoever, and make a a nice little profit. But those that actually sat on it, renovated and did buy and hold, them turning a tidy profit with their monthly rental revenue. But as you can see, Mechanicsville, that area is in close proximity to downtown, and that in itself is going to lend to a lot of latitude as far as property values. You can have a lot of room to grow because it's very convenient for people that work downtown.
I mean that property right there, it was pending. So you gotta ask yourself, why would somebody buy something like that? Basically, it tells a story.
Yeah, I was telling them Sheed earlier they had the belt line going up in Atlanta, and that was driving a lot of stuff too, a lot of the gentrification.
Yeah, man. But the thing is, in Atlanta, if you're gonna focus on pretty much property, I would always look at the west side of Atlanta. Over there, HE Homes, where it used to be over there, High Tower. They actually renamed it HE Homes. That's what one of the MARTA stations over there. I've went over there like in the past few weeks, and I've actually seen them starting to put, sidewalks up. Never had pretty much a nice area as far as sidewalks. You had the regular sidewalks. Now they're putting little islands, they're putting little planters to where you can put flowers in between. They actually have dividers within the main road now. So they're actually moving in that area little, because ultimately I noticed when in Atlanta, every time they start putting up sidewalks, the gentrification is starting.
Yep,
You know,
you'll start seeing if you start seeing like a Publix or a Starbucks.
yeah. It's not even just the stores. It's more or less the way they treat the area. You can have an area that's always been like a certain type of demeanor for years. Then you start to see sidewalks. You're starting to
Bike trail,
see bike trails. You're starting to see like the lights,
bike lane.
street lights. You
You see a
never,
bike lane come up,
Yep.
it's open.
Uh,
yeah.
even more police too.
Yeah, I mean the police they generally move around the area depicting on if they kind of get rid of crime, the police is over there in the area just in general. That's even like the Cleveland Avenue and Hateville area. It's like night and day. Hateville is more like the Buckhead side of Cleveland. Cleveland is more the rougher side. Nicer houses, smaller houses, but back in the day, you can get a house for about 40,000 over there. Now those houses are going for 100,000, easy. And like I said, Hateville is the next exit down. That's where they just put the Porsche dealer. I mean, you literally have the Porsche dealer right there in Hateville, right by the airport. One of the biggest little sceneries that they have over there, next to one of the most almost crime infested areas over there. I mean, constantly shooting, robberies, things going on over there in Cleveland, and they're trying their best to clean up the Cleveland area because they're trying to bring more people in there and push people out. Even with the property over there, the apartments in that area normally were running for like $400 to $500. Now they're going for $800, and that's one way to push the people out of the community. If you can't afford it, you're gonna have to move. You have no choice.
Yeah.
Now where's this area at?
What'd you say now?
Where's this area at? This Cleveland area?
Cleveland Avenue off 75. It's right when the 75-85 split downtown Atlanta.
75 and 85 split. Okay,
So,
I see. It's 75. Okay, I see 85.
okay, go to where you see that see Capitol Gateway. Keep going
Yeah.
down. Go down from there.
Okay.
Okay, because right there you're in the middle where the split. Keep going down, and it's gonna be on your left side. Go down
Left.
some more. Yep, Peoplestown. That's where the baseball stadium was at.
Yeah, I got a coworker who owns some property down there, just a plot of land, and he said he'll get phone calls from people just trying to buy it.
Yeah.
But just nothing on it that's gone and looked up his name in the tax records and
So
called him
that's
trying to buy
Lakewood
it.
area. Yep. And see right where you starting to see that shadow
Okay.
of the gray area. That's over there, going
Okay, I see
towards that
what
area
you're
right
having.
there. Yep.
Okay, so let me see just real quick. Let me move that filter. Okay, so you're talking about within the split?
Yeah, within the split, if you start looking in that surrounding area within the split from Cleveland Ave, actually on both sides,
Mhm.
if you look more to the left side than the right side, the left side is actually being more gentrified due to the fact that that's the area where Hateville, and if you go down to the next exit, I think it's like Central something, that's where they have the actual Porsche dealership. They just built over there with the track over there, and it's not that far from the
Airport. Yep.
airport.
Yep.
They have the actual Porsche thing out there. We can go out there,
Porsche experience. You can go drive the car on the track.
Porsche experience. Yep.
Okay, so let me trying to figure out where that's at. Is that okay, so is it I see Cleveland and Sylvan Road. Is it going towards that way? Because is it going towards River Park?
Yeah, that area going towards River Park.
Okay, so yeah, so
You,
now
you can kind of look at the houses a little more expensive the farther you go down from Cleveland, going back down south. The houses should be getting more expensive because, like I said, that's the actual Hateville area. So a lot of the Delta employees try to get houses in that area. Then you have a lot of the people that are moving because essentially, like when I used to work for a moving company, majority of the people in the city, all when they came to Atlanta, they always tried to move up to either Cummings or they'll move up 400. They'll move in the general area of Fayetteville just to kind of get out of the city where they can get more bang for their buck and the essentials, anything that they want. But more or less, they're moving back in now.
I was gonna say, didn't a bunch of people who work for Delta for the airport too? They tried to move out to Fayetteville.
Yeah, like I said, it was just a slew. I moved a lot of people with Lockheed. A lot of the people from Lockheed, they lived in the what's common area?
Ackworth,
Yep.
Ackworth, Canton, Kennesaw.
Yep. All in that area because Kennesaw is real big because it's actually just around the corner from where they're at now.
Yep. Some people move to Smyrna too.
Yeah. Even like with this area, like I said, you got more like the Delta employees because you got to understand they have a Delta right there. The whole Delta Plaza is all within that area of Virginia Avenue, like you were saying about Spondivis over in that area. So it's more cost efficient for them to stay down in that area, and they still have nicer houses. It's just that the elder people that had those houses are dying off now, and they're not leaving the property to their kids. And the ones that are leaving the property to their kids, they're going off and selling them because they don't know the value. You know, I've ran across guys doing real estate. All they do is just go in the area, buy a couple of houses, and they probably 2 or 3 or 4 of them at a time just buy houses within that row. They'll buy at least about 4 to 5 houses, get all that land as people moving out. They'll buy the house, get the land, board up the houses, and when they got one guy come in and they ask them what are you doing with the land, if they want to build a development, then they know they got them because they got 3 houses next door and they're all in different names. So if I can kind of get you to buy my house and you need the other 4 houses in that area, I'll just bait you into, buying them at a higher price because you need that property. If I give you the end property, the outer property, and you need those 2 middle properties to actually build condominiums or townhouses, that's a win right there because you're gonna pay whatever because that's the properties that you need. What's the use of buying the outer properties and you don't have that middle?
Well, if you look like so, I just want to take a quick, just like real quick. I want to show you where I'm at right now.
Okay.
Let's look at 538. This is my neighbor right there. This house just got on the market recently this week. Okay,
Mhm.
so this is the house that's next door to me, right? I have a fourplex to the right. You can't see this off screen, but to the right of this property that's on screen right now, I have a fourplex. And then on the other side of me, on the other side, there's another house that's probably either this condition or even worse. Every other property on the street is all like multifamily of some sort. They've already been, the developers have already bought it, tore down the houses, and built multifamily. So this house is back on the market. This house was on the market before my house was on the market previously. I forgot my computer's touchscreen. So this house was on the market a couple years ago before I bought my property. The other house is on the other side of me was on the market. Then they took their houses off the market because nobody was interested in buying them at that point. Then since then, developers came in, started buying up properties and tearing them down and building, row houses and stuff like that, and little miniature complexes and stuff like that, and townhomes and whatnot. So now this house is back on the market at 549. And so what I'm thinking is a developer is going to want to buy this and tear it down. And then if they buy the house on the other side of me, I'll be the last holdout in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can get all 3 of those plots, because each one of these plots is about 4,500 square feet. His is a little bit smaller, but mine is like 4,500. Next door to me is like 4,700 square feet. And so then they can have 1,500 square feet. With 1,500 square feet, you can build 20 units, easy.
Mm-hmm.
With parking, and that's very lucrative. And then actually, if you have all the properties, if you get all those properties in that row, you can consolidate the living area and actually build closer to 30 properties and still have enough room for parking. That's not something that you can do if you only have one property on either side, because each property will have to have their own like driveway and stuff like that. But if you can consolidate the properties and then share a driveway and have like a street access to the back, or just rely 100% on the back, because there's back alley access to this property here. So you can actually you can actually see that carport. You can actually go to the back alley of that parking of this property through that carport. And so there's access on the front and back. There's street parking and driveway. So this is like a perfect location, because you can situate your parking on either side of the property, or you can bring your property to the front, have the parking in the back, or vice versa. It doesn't matter. But the point is that all these properties on this street, are being gentrified, because what's happening is that, like, I guarantee you, this guy, he bought this property. Let's look at the value, the home value chart, because let You go back to like, what was this 2000 and what? Just a couple years ago, the property value was like 300, 350, 380. And now you fast forward it, they're trying to sell it for 550. So what happens is that the person that owned this property probably had this property, you know, back when they bought it, the property was probably like $80,000. And so now you fast forward it, the property's been evaluated, you know, at 500 plus. Their property taxes have went up exponentially, and so they're in a position where they got to sell it because it's not cost efficient to have a single family dwelling with that amount of property taxes per square foot. And this is a fixer. There goes, see, as you can see, you can get the back alley access. That's one of my tenant. My tenant has this van right here. That's his van. Oh, this picture was taken recently because he just barely started parking right there. So I know that's a very recent picture. Anyways, you can actually this back alley goes all the way out to either side of the street.
Let me ask you a question. I got a question for you, Super Triz. So yeah. How did you navigate? Were you living in Atlanta at the time, or you have family there? How did you?
This is Seattle.
Oh, this is Seattle. Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah. This is Seattle.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the reason why you see houses that look like this cost this much. This house is 1,280 square feet, only one bathroom. And it's a complete fixer-upper. Just look at the outside. Obviously, it's a fixer-upper on the outside. When you start looking, this old shed in the back is falling apart. Then you look inside the house. They got a new stove, but like the actual, like these walls, I think they're like panel walls that they painted over. So you're gonna have to tear those down and actually put sheetrock up there. It's like they did a makeshift kitchen here. So essentially, if you look at if you look at this kitchen, right, it's like an overmount sink. It's not even an undermount sink. The cabinetry is dated. This is not a small refrigerator, but it's not a high end look French door refrigerator. And then this little area right here. So the actual amount of workable space in the kitchen is small. The bathroom itself is dated. And so why I'm saying that the floors, the coloring on the floor is dated. So why I'm saying this is because, and like you can see here, these are paneled walls that were painted over. This is not even actual sheetrock here. This right here, this is old texture walls. And you can see the seam running right here. So that's like very low quality because you can still see the seam right there, even through the pictures. So you can imagine what you can see if you were actually in person. You have this dated wainscoting, which is actually real wood wainscoting, but it's dated.
What's the comps in that around that house there? That's amazing. That's $500,000 for that property. Wow.
Well, I mean, there aren't a whole lot of comps there because all the properties have been bought already and converted into multifamily. They've been torn down. Like when I bought my house, they were they were tearing down the corner house and they were building. They tore down one house and built 7 townhomes on that same spot.
So this house, if somebody bought this tomorrow, they would just tear it down.
Yeah, because see, the reason why I'm saying this is because, and I'm pointing out the fixtures. So look at paneling on the walls right there. That's old paneling that was painted over with gaps in it. You know, there's areas for water intrusion possibilities and stuff like that, and rodents and stuff like that in the outside. The house is like in total disarray. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because if you buy this house right now, right, and you say, okay, I want to buy and hold, I want to rent it out. You have to ask yourself, what amount of money can I get for this house in the condition that it's in? You know, for a 3-bedroom house, single family detached, you may be able to get, you know, $2,000, $2,300 a month in this poor condition.
Right? Well,
I
was going to ask, Triz, with this house, it looks like would this be one that someone would actually try to go and restore because it looks kind of older? in the sense of, and would the city even let you?
Well, here's the problem. If you were to restore it, are you restoring it to live in it or to rent it out?
I would imagine, I would think more like flip it. Like, I don't know what the neighborhood looks like, but just looking at that type of neighborhood, that kind of makes me think this could be a place of, if you play on the old, style of the home with more modern features.
Well, I mean, as you can see in the back, like you look in the back, right? This is what the rest of the neighborhood looks like. They've torn down all the stuff and they built.
Okay.
I know exactly what he's talking about. So his areas in the suburbs of Chicago where it's like old 60-year homes, and then it's like homes that's like 4 years old. So you would look out of place trying to fix up some old house like this where the surrounding houses are like modern prefab homes. So it's like the person that, I mean, it's just it pretty much looks like a holdout house, basically.
It is a holdout house. This house was built like in 1900. There it goes right there.
Okay, no, I know. I didn't realize the housing around it, because I was gonna say some neighborhoods they'll just take houses like this, like it's more of like a craftsman style home, and they'll just restore it, and you'll have an entire neighborhood of these type of houses, like craftsman style homes that have been modernized.
But see, the problem with that is that when you look at this house, it's already $550 as it is for 1,280 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, right? In order to really make it marketable, you're going to need an additional bathroom. But where are you going to take that space from? You have to build an addition to the home.
Yeah,
you don't want to take away from the space, because at 1,280 square feet, the rooms are not like they're huge. I mean, they're decent sized rooms, but they're not huge rooms by any stretch of the imagination. So with that being said, you can go down to a 2 bedroom, 2 bath, which is going to further diminish your marketability, or you're going to add a bathroom somewhere, maybe take away a closet space. But anyways. So
no, I get you. Yeah, no, you got to definitely have the right square footage, and that is the one thing you run into with these older homes is they didn't have like a master bedroom layout like people like now.
Once you fix up the house, you're gonna say, okay, either I'm gonna sell it, to flip it, or I'm gonna buy it and hold it. Once you sell it and flip it, who's gonna want to buy a house? Because you're gonna have to sell it for like $700,000, right, to get your money back, make it worth your while. You sell it for like $700,000. Who wants to buy a 3 bedroom, 1 bath home and pay that kind of money when they can go somewhere else cheaper? Because you can buy a townhome, one of these new townhomes. The townhomes are $550,000. Now you're not gonna get the yard space and all that other stuff, but you're gonna get the same exact square footage, but completely modern. Your actual property taxes are going to be lower, even though the purchase price is the same. Your property taxes are going to be significantly lower on that property.
I'm a rehab guy, but I mean, what are those? I'm kind of curious. What are those properties like to the back of you? What are they going for? What are they priced at on Realtor? Because I mean, yeah, you can't really fix. I know exactly what this type like these areas. They're all in the northern Illinois part of the Chicagoland area. I mean, guys, people are just buying houses and just bulldozing them. The houses were perfectly okay. They would just build brand new multi mansion. I mean, like little mini mansions on top of them.
Super Triz.
Yeah.
I say it's two things can be done with this property. Let me jump in real quick.
All right, for sure.
One thing you can do to this property is rehab it. You're gonna put yourself in debt with a lot of money, and you will have to literally stay in this house for years to gain that value back. Or you can demolish the property. Because if you look at the land, you can get about 5 townhouses out of that. And
7.
You're not building, 7. Yeah, you can build up. That's the thing. You're building up. You're building a minimum of 3 floors on top of a garage, where you won't have to worry about parking. They can actually park in the garage, angle the parking the driveway to when they come in, they kind of swoop in, go into their driveway, back out, do their thing, you know. And like I said, building up each one of those units, like he's saying, you can probably run what about 400 to 500. And the thing of it is, with buying that property, making a deal with a developer to come in and build it, you're gonna make double or probably triple your money. Plus that developer who's coming in, he's gonna make the money for himself. So it's a
Well,
win-win.
now he don't have to do anything because he already has the property. So it's like I do nothing. I in a year or two make about 700 grand, or I go into more debt to possibly make more money, or try to fix it up and resell it, and it's a risk involved, and I might make a little bit more money. I'll go with the just basic passive approach, which would pretty much hold out for somebody to buy it up and then prices to go up. That's what I think he's saying. And it took me a while to figure that out, but yeah, that's the play I would say here. I
Yeah,
definitely
The issue is that primarily the people that are buying in this area are developers, because you have to consider the property taxes. The people that have these properties that that are trying to sell now, that's had these properties for years, they bought these properties for like 80,000, 90,000 back in the day. And so now the property taxes are sky high, right? And so I know he has to pay. He's probably paying at least $5,000. I'm paying $7,000 a year just in property taxes. So I know he's paying like probably about $5,000, maybe $4,000 a year property taxes, and which may not seem like it's a lot of money, but compared to what he was paying when he initially bought the house, it is a lot of money. And he's probably retired by now. So he's like, let me just offload this property and cash out. And so the person that's buying it, that's the thing. What are they going to do with the property? Are they going to, try to, keep it as is? Because you keep it as is and you fix it up. When they come in and they buy the property, the city is going to reassess the property taxes because they're a new buyer now. And as a new buyer, they're going to assess the property taxes to the max. And now you got to pay a lot more money than what you anticipated on a monthly basis to your escrow account to pay for the property taxes at the end of the year. And so now your holding costs are going to be a lot of money for a property that houses one family, as opposed to like he was saying, you tear it down and you build some row houses there, and now you can maximize that actual plot size, because nobody really cares about yards anymore. Let's be honest. They just want the actual place to live and park the car because they don't want to cut grass. So you put 7 row houses like on there, like they've done on the at the end of the street on the corner. They tore down the same size house, same size plot, and they put 7 townhomes, and they sold those townhomes. At first they were selling them for like $500 a piece. Then they went up to $600,000. And if you want to buy them in bulk, you could get them for $550 if you bought 4 of them. And somebody came and bought all 4 townhouses that were left. There were 7 that were original. 3 of them got sold right away, and then somebody bought 4 of them at one time. And now those townhomes, are worth $600,000 now, just a year later.
It's a great deal. Super Triz, when you're finished looking at the Seattle situations, I want to also get back to the Atlanta, Georgia market when it comes to Waffle Houses. I just want to see the price.
Okay, let's
See
go
the
to
price
LoopNet.
and cash flows for sure.
LoopNet.
I'll look at the addresses of Waffle Houses, so that'll give you a range of where to look. Let me look up.
So
Because we're
restaurant.
gonna look at the prices, and we're gonna look at the market, surrounding markets, so everybody can be able to get a good glimpse of what the traffic situation is like in any areas around those areas of Waffle Houses, because they make good consistent money.
I was going to say another thing, if you're looking at a franchise in the Southeast that you may want to think about, is a Dollar General.
That too. I did that my last episode, looking at nothing but Dollar Generals in Florida, so we did that as well.
Yeah, you probably want to stay in Florida, because a lot in Georgia, especially in Atlanta, the Dollar Generals are so saturated out here between them and Family Dollar. They're kind of closing down because a lot of people are complaining about them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's I mean in the area. You will go every probably 5 miles and get a Family Dollar. So it got to the point where the people in the
Damn.
neighborhoods were complaining, and they was like, man, they're tired of it, but that's the area. If you pull up, I think the west side of Atlanta, they closed down a couple of them, but majority, man, it was like I said, close to every 5 miles, a Dollar General.
Okay, so what I've done is, let me see here. I don't see a specific Waffle House, but I see some
You're not
Waffle House
Google
spots.
search.
Because this looks like this could be a Waffle House right here. It's a freestanding restaurant. Because that looks like a Waffle House.
Yeah,
What I
that's the
let
other
me
thing I've heard too with COVID, that it shut down a bunch of restaurants in Atlanta. So a lot of real estate's gonna be cheap.
Wait, it didn't run nonstop? It didn't run nonstop like how Houston was?
What do you mean run nonstop?
No shutdowns.
My understanding, just from this is a guy I follow on YouTube, he was saying that just a bunch of restaurants had closed down and weren't opening back up.
Well, look at this one right here. This is a distress sale.
Oh
This
wow.
right here. This is a distress. Where is it? There we go. Distress sale. So they ready to wheel and deal. That means that like they got to get out of this because they can't make the mortgage or the property taxes. And so it already comes with some type of capital, capital within the building. I mean, I'm sure there's a full kitchen in there. You got some bar equipment, and now this obviously wouldn't. I don't think this would work for a Waffle House though, because I think Waffle House has some like corporate things that you have to have in there for them to franchise to you, right?
Oh yeah, they're definitely gonna like control um definitely like the look
Yeah.
as far as the structure, and then maybe even your prices.
What does it cost for a Waffle House franchise?
Let's look that up.
Google search it, man. Y'all got the ability to
Let's
That La
see here.
Vista, that La Vista property was a good area right there for actually opening up a restaurant.
Oh, here they go. So basically, I'm just reading this preliminarily. It says there's just one problem. Waffle House franchises aren't available. The privately owned company offers stock option grants to its associates. So if you ever want to claim ownership of a Waffle House, you need to go apply for a job there first. This sounds kind of like the model of Chick-fil-A.
Yeah,
So it's like,
Chick-fil-A,
right here, don't hold your breath.
you gotta work there for a while. You gotta get people to vouch for you. Yeah.
So you gotta deal with late night bar brawls, people throwing chairs,
Yeah.
throwing salt shakers and metal napkin holders for a couple years before you can open up your own Waffle House.
Yeah.
oh man, that's some bullshit.
and I-
That is funny though.
And I wonder how much you got to be involved, because I know like Chick-fil-A, they're not going to let you be like a silent partner type. They're going to want you involved in the day-to-day business.
Let's see here.
Damn.
Okay, so here we go. Okay, so
I'm just trying to put some money in and just be able to kick back and relax.
check this out. It says, I'm gonna just read this really quickly. The yellow and black tiled sign sign outside, the red padded booths, the low hanging globe lamps could all be this. Could all this be yours one day? Maybe, but don't hold your breath. According to Bert Thornton, Waffle House's vice chairman emeritus, the list of people trying to get into the Wahoo business is very long and very distinguished. The company owns about 80% of its more than 1,800 locations and has stringent franchise conditions that deter most prospective operators. Typically, only expansion plans from existing and particularly successful franchisees are considered. The reason, Thornton says, is that Wahoo is dedicated to maintaining consistency from one location to another. We would rather raise our babies from the start, he says. So basically, they're trying to carry on the tradition of being featured on World Star and the Grand Report. And yeah.
I guess that depends on location too. Is if you're more in the area you're in, what type of crowd you're going to attract.
So what you will have to probably do is you would have to find somebody that's older trying to get out of the business and try to somehow buy the whole thing from him somehow, and you have to make sure that he's an actual owner, because right here it says the company owns about 80% of its more than 1,800 locations. So when you're talking about that means that there's probably 240 maybe 240 locations that are privately owned across the country.
Damn.
The other
And
thing
so
you
you
got to
got
worry
to leave
about
them ASAP.
is the racial component, because I don't know if you all saw where you had a group of black franchisees who were suing McDonald's. This happened probably about some months ago, and they basically alleged that they put all sorts of requirements of making them basically remodel their stores every so often, a lot more frequently than other owners, and just how they could never really make their money back out of it. So you got to know the company's background on stuff like that too.
And also, this is what happened with Quiznos subs. Like have you guys noticed that Quiznos subs are hard to find nowadays?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know why Quiznos subs are so difficult to find?
No.
Because part of their
No.
business model, when they gave you a franchise, you had to mandatorily participate in their promotional offers. So what happened was that the company would offer through the internet or through sales papers, whatever, unbeknownst to you as the individual owner, and they will be like free sub, or half off sub and stuff like that. So people would come in with these coupons directly from the headquarters, and they would get free subs and all this other stuff, and the company itself wouldn't reimburse the individual owner. It was just like a cost they had to eat.
Basically, they were controlling their pricing in a sense. Like they didn't, because like you'll see that with like some coupons, like, hey, this is only valid in certain locations, and that's
Yeah,
where and that's where hey, the franchise gets to decide whether they're going to participate in that, and probably gets to decide things like pricing and other things.
but Quiznos, there's no such dialogue on a coupon. It was mandatory participation, and then a customer could call and say this coupon wasn't honored, and then they could penalize the actual the location, the individual location. So people had to participate, and it got so bad that companies literally, and this was pre-COVID. This was way before COVID. Pre-COVID, it was so bad that companies couldn't maintain their profit margins and had to shutter their doors. That's why it's very important to kind of really delve into the fine print, of the franchise agreement, to find out, what individual rights you have as the individual franchisee.
I agree. I'm writing all this down, researching the franchise agreement, because shit.
Now, from what I hear is one of the cheaper, or two of the cheaper franchises would be Shake and Bake, or I don't know if it's Steak and Shake or something like that.
Steak and Shake.
Steak and Shake, and then also Subway.
Steak and Shake is funny, because I looked into that. I think it's like 10,000 or something like that, but they gotta pick the store, and they kind of set you up. And the thing about it is, they set you up in locations where Steak and Shakes have already failed. Because I actually looked at a lot of information about them, and they kind of set you up in areas where the Steak and Shakes have already failed. So essentially, you kind of going in failing. You got to actually do more promoting and kind of generally pushing the people to come to the store. And ultimately, if you don't, it's your fault.
Yeah, that was the other thing they mentioned in the McDonald's class action lawsuits, is they were saying the black franchisees, they basically were put in urban areas and didn't really have a say as far as their actual location that they wanted to establish.
Yeah,
That's
that's a
interesting.
big part. Yeah, so you gotta take that in consideration when you're looking at those different places. You gotta be able to see, can you pick locations? Can you pick areas? Uh, because ultimately, like I said, you'll have franchises that close down and they give you this great deal on the property and all that. But when it comes down to it, you've had so much money tied into it. And I think what is it? What did I read about it? I think it's like a couple of years before you actually start seeing some type of profit. I think it's like 2 to 3 years because they want you to put so much money into stuff where it looks essentially like a good deal, especially with the low profit that you have to put in because they give you all the promotional stuff, the cups, everything else, and it, it looks good on paper. Well, it looks good with the way they say it, but not on paper.
Yeah, I was gonna say too. The other thing you want to be sure about is understanding like terms as far as like operating radius. So like, is there a certain amount of distance that someone else can't go? You know, another franchisee can go and set up another franchise similar to yours, the exact same franchise within a certain radius. Because say if an area blows up, someone may try to come in and try to get um, some of that new business, like say if a shopping center is built nearby or increase in like interstate traffic or something.
Here we go. The here goes the list. Schindler's List. Most profitable franchises. Number 1, McDonald's. Number 2, Dunkin' Donuts. Number 3, UPS Store. UPS Store. Interesting. That's very interesting right there. That's very,
We
very interesting.
writing that down too.
Yeah, Dream Vacations, The Maids, which is like a cleaning service, Anytime Fitness, Pearl Vision. Pearl Vision is going to have some high salary costs. So you gotta have an optometrist there. Jan Pro, Supercuts, and Ace Hardware. Ace Hardware. That's interesting. Ace Hardware.
They
Ace
can't
Hardware,
compete. They can't compete with Home Depot or Lowe's.
but dude, Ace Hardware is a good franchise. Even though they can't compete with Lowe's and all them far as certain things, the customer service is out of this world. And
Yes.
I've never been to an Ace Hardware to where I got a key made and it didn't work. I've been to several Home Depots and all of them. I done went at least 3 or 4 times before I actually got the key made right. Ace
And you know
Hardware,
what? I remember having to go to Ace Hardware because I needed to get a specific bolt. And I couldn't get this bolt anywhere. I was looking all over for this bolt. Basically, I had a bolt that stripped, and I need to replace this bolt. I went all these stores. I went to Sears Hardware. I went all these places. I walked in Ace Hardware, showed him the bolt. He said, wait right here. He went down the thing, came back in like 30 seconds, had the bolt. Perfect match.
Wacky, salute. Chime in.
Hey, what's going on? What's going on, everybody?
What's going on, Wacky World?
I'm all right. I'm right. This is in response to Super Tris because earlier Super Tris was talking about how in Quizno Sub, the situation was you had a lot of customers that was they had free coupons that was created by, I guess, the major headquarters of Quiznos.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole thing how and Quiznos wouldn't reimburse the different franchises for the free items when it comes to the free coupons. Now, what I'm saying is that that's the situation that is going on with Little Caesars right now in here in the area that I'm at. I don't know about the other area.
Oh,
yeah.
Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
I just saw on the Grand Report they had, I guess, Domino's and Little Caesars is going at it. Domino's actually sent over a fleet of delivery bikers. Like I'm talking about literally like 20 of them. And they had the two mascots, the Domino's Domino's got two mascots. They got the pizza guy and they got the delivery guy mascot. And they had them all in their costumes and they went right in front of the Little Caesars store, riding around in circles around the whole store parking lot, and like basically had the cameraman film them in front of the Little Caesars pizza.
Oh wow!
It's like bold. I like it. It looked like it's against the law. but Domino's did it.
Wow.
But go ahead, Wacky World.
Yeah. Because I had a situation where a while ago I ordered some Little Caesars pizza, and Grubhub was giving out these coupons where if you spend a certain amount on Little Caesars, you receive like a free drink and this free stuff. And the manager of the store called me and stated how he could not honor the coupon because he's not being reimbursed for it. And I told him, hey, listen, that's not my problem. That's between you and Grubhub. And he said, listen, I'm only the manager, but the owner of my franchise, he's not honoring it. He told me straight up, don't honor that. So there's nothing I could do. I have to listen to the owner. So and he said that, and he told me, he said it's between me and you, different franchises. We said he told me, this is the man. He said between me and you, different franchises within the area is having an issue with Grubhub and the major headquarters of Little Caesars because they're giving out these free coupons and not notifying these the different franchises in our area, and then I even reimbursing them for the free stuff that they give them. So he said, so he was telling me that, and he was like, yo, he told me it's getting ugly. I said, wow, but at the same time, what's going on in New York within the past 2 years is that a lot of Little Caesars, I keep saying Little Caesars pizzerias, they're closing down and going out of business. So since Super Trees explained that, I'm wondering, is that the same? Since Super Trees explained that when it comes to Quizno subs, I'm wondering in my mind, is that the reason why a lot of Little Caesars pizzerias around my area is closing down?
Yeah. Remember they closed down before. Back in the day, they were everywhere. Then all of a sudden they left and then came back.
Yeah.
Because you got to understand what these franchises dealing with Grubhub and Uber Eats and trying to compete with other companies that are doing this DoorDash and out delivering straight to the house, they got to give them incentives. Otherwise, they got to give something to the people. That's how they make their money. They giving something to the people. That's like my friend, he did Groupon. He had a business and Groupon told him that he had to give them so much money. Otherwise, he had to up his prices. So originally he was providing a service for $75. And Groupon would want, let's say 30%. So he would actually have to up his prices to like 180 and then drop it down and say they'll be getting a deal and knock to $90 so he can still kind of make his money in between. Otherwise, if he was to go ahead and sell it for 75, 30% out of that 75, well, basically he's damn near doing it for free.
Oh, real quick, Real Deal, can you share my screen just really quickly?
Yes, sir. We'll. Wait a minute, I thought I already. Yeah, I'm still sharing your screen, Jay.
Is it showing up? Oh, okay. Check this out. I got my sound turned off. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna mute it because I don't want it to have any feedback, but you can see what's going on now. Hold on for a second. Wait till you see who comes on the screen. Look at this. It's like a whole 20 bikers driving in circles. And then look at, they got the mascot out here.
And the delivery.
Now wait a minute. They got the other mascot too. Look at the other mascot, the delivery mascot. Look at, there you go. And now check it out. You got somebody orchestrating this whole thing, and you about to look at orchestrating it back there.
Bruh, this is torture.
This is wild right here. Can you imagine? Like if you own the Little Caesars and you came out your parking lot, you seen this going on. Imagine that. And you already hurting because these promotional offers that the corporate is mandating. Look, they done took over.
Man, I'll be like,
look, and he's dancing, he's twerking, doing all kind of stuff. Look.
You know, but they're promoting they're promoting their product. When I mean I'm talking about Domino's promoting their product on the property of another company without that company's consent.
Yeah,
So,
illegal.
yeah, illegal. And this is on video. So this is so if Little Caesars want to have a lawsuit, there's the proof right there.
But ultimately, it's kind of funny because all they have to do is say they had a promotional team, and they will have to kind of find out which company, because if it's private owned, then you can say there's any company. They will actually have to get certain people to say, well, who do you work for and who told you to do this? They can go and try to sue them. It's gonna be tied up. It's gonna be fun. I mean,
but see, if I was a defense lawyer, I would say, oh well, my clients, just because they work for Domino's doesn't mean they can't be customers for Little Caesar. So what you see in the video is my clients were looking for safe parking for their bicycles because they were concerned about theft. So that's why they were riding in circles repeatedly, finding a safe location to park their bikes. Yeah, that's what that was about.
yeah, because I did promotion one time and we were doing a lot of crazy promotion. I'm not even gonna say what we did, but we did a lot of crazy promotion to promote certain things. And Intel, a lot of people, got mad at with the promotion stuff that we were doing because we were kind of dealing with a lot of sprays and all kind of other things. And it was supposed to be like chalk paint that kind of was easier to relinquish, but technically that stuff stuck. They gave us the wrong paint. So we actually had the paint that actually stayed there. You had to really get like a pressure washer to get this stuff up. And man, the guy that I was working for, he was actually at one of the companies and he looked at this big old thing that I did in front of the property. And so he's passing out flyers. And this guy was like, hey man, you work for these people, or you know who did this? And he was like, I don't know, it'd probably be a different team or something. Companies have a lot of guys working in this area. They got me working. They probably got somebody else working. I was working for that guy, and he was hot. He was like, man, he's like, I had to just pay $175 to get 3 signs removed at one of my spots. And then now I'm coming over here. They're all over here. Like, is this guy trolling me? What's going on? I don't know. He's like, you need to call the people that you work for.
Wait a minute,
and
that's
see
funny
what the
as
heck
shit.
is going on.
He said, "Is you trolling me? This is too
Yeah.
much of a coincidence. Hold on. This is too much of a coincidence."
Exactly. It was funny, man.
Wacky,
I
you got
was
any
trying.
real estate markets, G? You got any specific real estate markets? Newark, not Newark, New York. I don't know why I said Newark.
Newark is close enough.
Yeah, Newark is close enough. It's like what, a half-hour drive, but in what way? Some markets in what way? Do I have any markets that I'm looking at?
Well, markets that you want us to analyze, because I don't know how long you've been on the live, but we've been psychoanalyzing the shit out of these markets. We looking at the rent, how much the rent's going for. We looking at developers. We looking at land situations. Just any cities, man. We'll pull it up.
Yeah, the talk that I'm interested in is I'll say North Carolina.
North Carolina, come on and raise up.
Yeah.
Okay.
He over there. He over there with Petey Pablo and them. So we talking about Raleigh, Durham,
Charlotte.
Okay.
Charlotte.
Even though Raleigh's gonna be a good area. Raleigh, Durham is the triangle. You got Raleigh, Durham. That's the triangle up there. That area is pretty much essentially is growing. But you want to look at Charlotte because Charlotte is like, I always tell people, Charlotte's like the little Atlanta. It's
Charlotte,
populated.
The big city.
Yeah, big city. It's populated, man. They got the clubs there. They got like the outer perimeter, like the housing market is starting to get high. I have a friend that stays up there. Like just last year, he's looking into buying a house now because he said he's always rented with the intent of kind of moving back to Atlanta. But now he kind of feels that he wants to stay up there because he's been up there for so long. He waited too late. The market is starting to get high to where all the houses that he was renting for like 1,200, they're almost hitting at 2,000. And then the houses that are trying to buy, they're going for 200 and 300,000 now. When he first moved up there, he said he had houses going for 80 and 70,000. The same houses are going for like 200 or 180.
Check this out.
Yeah.
So we have this particular property is a portfolio. So we have 4 multifamilies offered at $975. And so when we look at these 4 multifamilies, we got let's see here. 2 4-plexes, a 5-plex, 14 total. Okay, so we got, how much does that cost? $975. So we got $975. So we got about 70,000 per unit, which is I don't know what that is for this area in North Carolina, because depending on where you're at, that could be either good or a bad price per unit. But yeah, it's the actual portfolio. So we got this. Let me see here.
Yeah.
This property looks to be brick. That one looks to be brick. Let's see here. This one is siding.
Do you ever look at like HomeSnap when looking at property? You ever heard this site called HomeSnap?
No, what is HomeSnap?
HomeSnap, my friend, he's a real estate agent. They use it a lot in Atlanta. I don't know if it's good for other places, but
do you have to be a realtor
HomeSnap,
to use it? You have to have
nope,
you have to pay a monthly
nope,
fee to access it.
nope, you don't.
What I was doing,
HomeSnap is real good because I'm gonna tell you something about why I like it. And it's free. So let's say you driving around for dollars, right? And you see a property that the grass is high and it's like papers in the porch. Well, it doesn't have an address on it. Well, you could geotag your through the HomeSnap app where actually the house you're sitting in front of. I mean, it's got other things you could do with it, but that's what I use it for. And it's pretty good for that to like geolocate where you're at. If you like right in front of a property that you try, look at.
Yeah. One thing with the Raleigh area, I was reading an article. This was some years ago, maybe a good 2-3 years ago. I read an article about how in Raleigh, if I'm wrong, someone could correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just going based upon the article that I've read, that Raleigh is considered like a growing tech hub in North Carolina because there are a lot of mid-level and even starter tech companies within Raleigh that's starting up in Raleigh, and that gave way to increased job opportunities in the tech world in the city of Raleigh. And also, I've read another article in which how there is like different companies, certain companies, as far as different companies that have warehouses and these hubs that are leaving Atlanta and going into Raleigh due to, I guess, the growing property taxes. According to that other article in North Carolina, how Raleigh businesses see more incentives moving to Raleigh and leaving Atlanta. And not only Raleigh, even Charlotte and leaving Atlanta. So according to these two articles, there's growing job opportunities in these two areas. And, in an area where it's alleged to have a growing employment opportunities, you expect more people to move in there.
That's an interesting point because a lot of people don't consider the actual cost of property taxes, particularly when you purchase a property. You look at the listing. The listing gives you an estimate of what your expenses are going to be based on the property taxes they're paying currently, and their property taxes can be fixed or whatever reason. The property taxes, once you actually buy the property, your property taxes end up being more because the city will reassess your taxes. That's like what happened to me. When I purchased my property, I had a certain tax rate, and then that following year, the city reassessed it, and now I'm paying $2,000 more. in property taxes.
Mm.
That's just something you got to think about.
Right. Okay.
These properties actually look more expensive per unit than Charlotte, believe it or not. So this definitely is probably an upcoming area.
Yeah.
Yeah. They may in fact surpass Charlotte. Because obviously if Charlotte's a bigger city, there might be an issue with actual crime too. A lot of times, you start talking about larger cities, especially cities that a little bit older.
Yeah.
They have an issue with major crime and stuff like that. Even here in Seattle, there's issues with crime, but it's not even though it's an older city, it's not like being in Houston where you have real violent crime and gangs and stuff like that. It's just not like that out here. You have a lot of druggies, and then you have organized crime. And organized crime is organized, so you don't really have as much as much collateral damage.
A whole lot of people from New York within the past, in my opinion, within the past 5 years, they're moving down to Raleigh. There was a time where a lot of New Yorkers said, I'm moving to Atlanta. Now, I'm speaking in, to a lot of New Yorkers saying, hey, I'm going to move to Raleigh. I'm moving to Raleigh, North Carolina. So it's growing. Yeah.
I think Edward Anderson is in Raleigh.
Yeah. You got Edward, you got Anger Man, and you got Arthur Whitmore. All three of those guys.
Okay.
I actually told Arthur Whitmore that Edward was in Raleigh. And I'm like, dude, I've been on here all this time. I noticed and I talked to these guys. I was like, y'all in the same city. Don't even communicate.
Yeah, you know what? And I think really and truly, if you have an actual component of somebody being here in your location, because let's say Real Deal wants to buy a property, right? And we got other people that's in this area. We all say, you know what? Our goal, we're gonna set a goal for 2020, 2022. By 2022, everybody's gonna have purchased an additional property, regardless of what their status is. If you have a property now, it's gonna be an additional property. If you don't have a property, it's gonna be your initial property. What you buy, but everybody's gonna buy a property. Probably a distressed property, probably a fixer-upper. But we're gonna work together to get our properties up to speed, whether we're going to be a buy and hold investor or we're going to be a fix and flip. We can work together. Hey, we can all, let's look at YouTube tutorials. We bring our separate skill sets. Okay, well, I know how to do kitchens. I can do a kitchen sink and all this other stuff. I know how to do bathrooms. I can lay tile. I can do floors. I can do roofs and all that stuff. And so we combine our collective efforts and we work together. We kind of learn off each other the skills that I don't know. I learned from Real Deal the skill that Real Deal don't know. He learns from Wacky World, and so work together, and get these properties fixed up. So you don't have to, and whatever's major, if it's something major, you can outsource that to a contractor. But if it's within your capabilities as a group, you guys work together and fix up a property. Especially if you guys are working together, you guys can knock out a property, do simple stuff, take 2 weeks and do the properties completely flipped, and y'all can do that for each one of y'all properties and kind of go from there. Get your foot in the door. But that only works if you have somebody that lives in your vicinity and that's motivated.
Yeah.
And I think that we should start looking to in this manosphere space is like, okay, where does everybody live? Who's doing what? Who's trying to make some money for real?
That's like a situation in Atlanta. The guy Smooth, he moved from Texas down here to Atlanta. Me and him talk, and I gave him my number in the back chat. We sit there and we talked about things, and he had situations where he was coming over here and then his child support. I don't have child support because I'm married to my wife, but I knew about certain things, so I kind of helped him out, and in return, you know, it helped him with his child support. I told him if you don't have a job, essentially you need to call down there and tell the people you don't have a job and let them know that your situation. He did that. They lowered the child support. Ultimately, a lot of guys that don't do that, they sit there and had child support $300-400 still set as if they're working because they never called them and generally told them. Same thing with her when he got down here. He was looking for work. I gave him different locations to see if he want to work there. Like I told him, it's ultimately up to you if you want to work here, do certain things, but you know the opportunity is there. Essentially, he found something else, and it was cool from there. But the whole thing was the connection of me and him talking and everything from that nature. Same thing with another guy, Kane. I talked to him. We mostly talk just things about the manosphere, but far as he does certain things, I kind of figured out what he does. And like I told him, I deal with trucking. I actually just have just regular C license, but just talking with him, what he's doing and how he moves, we kind of connect on certain things too. And that's the thing that I kind of tell guys in this space that I come here for the information. All the other stuff is irrelevant for me. I'm married. I'm looking at the information, how guys are going to help each other, kind of build with each other, and that's ultimately my goal in this space.
Also what I was thinking about, Real Deal.
Yes, sir.
I do a lot of internet research, and I was thinking about price per square foot. The cheapest you can get is going to be like a van or RV. Price per square foot rise. If you have some land, and well, obviously, a mobile home, you get a used mobile home, but then there's permitting issues with a mobile home. But if you have a RV, and say for instance you have some property, just some land, what you can do is you can almost have like a mobile home park for RVs. You can buy some used RVs, and I've seen RVs, cheap, pennies on the dollar. People buy RVs and they don't really use them because they probably get tired of driving after the first couple of years. So, anyways, you get an RV. Say you get an RV for $3,000. Put $1,500 into it, and then you rent the RV for $500 a month, and you park it on your property. You're not paying any property taxes, as opposed to you paying. If you had an actual structure on your property, your property tax is going to be commensurate with the value of the structure, in addition to the actual land underneath it. But you have the actual RVs instead, or motorhome type deals. And we're not talking about the big ones. We're talking about maybe like a class B, like maybe like a 20-foot, something like that. And these ones typically have a shower inside of it, shower, sink, bed, and a toilet and a kitchen, small kitchen, but a kitchen nonetheless. So it's a fully functional unit, and you can rent to people because there's an entire community dedicated to RV living on the internet. So there's obviously a market of people that are willing to live. Because matter of fact, somebody just hit me up on YouTube. On Facebook, and she was inquiring about. I guess a friend of hers needed a place to stay, and he was asking for a room to rent. And then and he said, like, he'll take a car. If you can rent the car, stay in the car. Like, he was desperate. And if you have a RV that you buy for cheap, and then you put a little bit of money into it, it's a small footprint, so you're not gonna need a lot of raw materials. And if you have a group of you guys collaborate, and you guys can do that stuff together, do one RV a week. Buy the RV and then take a week. Draw up a plan, and then take a week, and then just like swap out stuff, put a new kitchen countertop, put some new cabinets, or just replace the doors on the existing cabinets and reface them, give them a new look. Put a new bed, maybe even put up some walls, paint in there, put some new flooring, some vinyl plank flooring in there, and now you got an RV that looks like an upscale micro studio apartment. And then because you own the land underneath it, you just hardwire it into power and water.
But
And that price per unit is so cheap. Think about that, right? Where else can you rent something for $500 a month that you only paid $3,000 for plus $1,500 in improvements?
yeah,
Can't
that's
beat that.
that's like what I was looking at. I was talking to my friend, and I was telling him when he came back over here to start renting property, because like I told him, ultimately in Atlanta, a lot of people don't have the credit to buy a house. So I told him, kind of rent properties, have them on contract. If they really want the house, after years' time, they got it. If not, they can actually move, go somewhere else. But they will have to pay a fee for breaking that contract for that house and moving. But essentially, the little tiny properties,
Tiny
those are
homes.
the way. Tiny homes, those are the way to go. Like my dream, if I was to have some type of money, was to get at least about 30, 40 acres and just put tiny homes in that area. A total, if I had at least for every quarter acre, put a tiny home on that property, put a little small gravel driveway to where they can park their car. Tiny homes, you can build them less than 10,000. I mean, close to 5,000 if you penny pinch, because ultimately all you're doing is building the outer frame and then running the wires for somebody that know how to do drywall, something like that. I mean, simple little stuff.
But
Easy.
see, the issue then becomes is what is the zoning restrictions for that area? Because if you're talking about something that's cost effective to buy a large quantity of land, it's going to be outside of the city limits.
Yeah.
And if you're talking about outside of the city limits, then there's going to be a zoning regulation. Per acre, there may only be one domicile per acre. So then you would have. So you're talking about a tiny home. You would have to have the tiny home on the actual trailer with wheels. You couldn't put like one of those mobile home foundations, because then it will
Hmm.
be considered a domicile, and then you'll be restricted by the zoning uh, uh,
Restrictions, yeah, I
parameters.
understand.
So
Yeah.
so you would have to get like something that you would have to have the tiny home still on a wheeled trailer.
Yeah.
Um, which I mean, that's doable. But that's just like a modification that you would have to make. And then and if you can keep your actual construction costs down, like you said, $10,000, I would probably err on the side of 15,000, because there's a minimum amount of interior appointments that you're going to need. Uh, like as far as your fixtures and flooring and stuff like that, the structure itself plus all that stuff, probably closer to 15,000 to be comfortably appointed. Um, but then they're all going to be individual units. You're not going to be able to share any walls. You have to build each unit individually. You're going to have a separate trailer for each unit. So that's why you're going to be spending like at least 15, maybe even 17,000 if you count the trailer uh, per each individual domicile. And then you have to, calculate what's the monthly rent that you're going to be able to get for those. Is there, how strong is the market for that type of structure in your area? Because most people that want tiny homes, they want the tiny homes because they want that ownership. They want complete ownership of a property without having a monthly note. And this is what attracts them to tiny home, because you can get a tiny home. Uh, at the initial explosion, a lot of these tiny homes were even more expensive than the mobile home. They're like $70,000 dollars, which wasn't really cost effective. But now they got companies coming out with very very nicely appointed tiny homes for like $25,000. Because I was just doing the research on this last week, and at $25,000, somebody can buy that tiny home, finance it, do a short-term finance, maybe like a 5-year finance, and after 5 years, they own that property outright. Now it's just the actual tiny home; it doesn't count the land, but still, they have a feeling of ownership, and that's what people are actually going for. So then you got to ask yourself, if I'm doing a rental setup, is it as appealing to compromise on space if I'm not actually owning it anymore? You see what I'm saying? And so then you have to ask yourself, okay, how can I make this more appealing? Because now I just got I got a small house that people are still going to have to rent and they're not going to actually own it. So how you make them more appealing is that you make the price point appealing. But as you make the price point more appealing, you cut into your potential profit margins because now you're having a lower monthly revenue. So that's the reason why I was talking about the actual RV model, because you can get a 20-foot RV. You know, maybe you get out of that 20-foot RV, you may get let's just say you get 100 square feet, or maybe 90 to 100 square feet. 90 to 100 square feet, you can get a kitchen, bathroom, bed, and toilet in there. Small, but you can get all of that in there. And with that being said, because your initial upfront costs are so low, you don't have to rent it for that much to get your money back. $400 a month, you know, very, very attractive monthly price. And you still turn a profit very quickly.
This is all beautiful, man. This is all beautiful. I wrote all this shit down. This is all valuable information from Rashid. Wacky, thank you for coming in. Respect to Rashid and you, Super Triz. I'm about to get up out of here, man.
All right, man. It's been real.
It's been real, man. Thank you, Rashid, for coming in.
Yeah, man. You know, I actually didn't put the notification in to where I can see when you drop a video. But hold on real quick. I'm actually on the computer. Okay. What's your cash app, Mr. Perfect?
23G.
All right, 23G. All right.
Salute to all y'all brothers. Salute to everyone that's tuning in. You know, y'all could have been anywhere on the net, but y'all chose me. Salute to y'all, man. I just want to say on this last few words is, man, we need more business people. We need more people that's active, more people that's analytical when it comes to real estate, figuring out what's going on in the area. Thank you, Rashid. Just got it, man. Thank you. Salute to you.
Mhm.
But we just need more dudes that's interested in investments, got a nose for what's going on in a market, and just getting aggressive, man. Because if you don't take advantage of it, somebody will. Somebody will. Last statements. Rashid,
Thank you
last
for having me.
statements.
Yeah, like I say, man, you know, just invest in yourself, you know, kind of do things, you know, to kind of help yourself. And ultimately, like I always say, as people, you know, we need to work as a collective to kind of get things going and join together to make a difference. All right. I'm out.
Super Triz, last statements.
Think outside the box, and you know, as you're in these chat rooms and on these panels, you know, if there's anybody that's in your area, you know, try to network with them, try to partner with them, and figure out what you guys can do together. You know, division of labor and economies of scale goes a long way towards your bottom line.
Exactly. Damn, I'm gonna write that down. You repeat that again. You said divisions of.
I forgot what I just made that up. Division of labor and economies of scale goes a long way towards your bottom line. So division of labor, obviously, if you have a task and you can split it up against 2, sometimes 3, sometimes 4 people, you can get that task done more efficiently. And then economies of scale is that if you have a couple of concurrent projects, you can buy raw materials in bulk and at a discount, as opposed to you buying it individually. You know, hey, we're gonna all buy. We all know we need this amount of material. We're gonna all buy it right now together, and we're gonna save a little bit of money. Maybe we save 10%, maybe we save 15%, because we bought it in bulk.
For sure, man. I wrote all that down. Salute to you, Super Triz, man. And I think I'm gonna go live tomorrow.
All right, man. Just put the bat signal out.
Man, I appreciate it, Super Triz, man. It's been real. RDF out.
Peace.
Peace.